Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of 13 Cards Subject to Change. This episode may break Jesse. We don't know. There's a whole reason for that coming up later. But we also have a unique thing today. We have Leroy in the chair.
Woo-hoo.
Jesse's always at the
Course.
end of the
That's
table.
right.
And we have our buddy Arlen with us. Arlen, how's it going?
I'm doing good. How are y'all?
Fantastic. So Arlen is a local guy from actually up here.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
You were in the, I forget, were you the opening match at the DPW or were the VIP match?
I was the VIP pre-show main event.
Right,
Yes.
right, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
For
exactly.
DPW Apex.
Because they do two for the
they did two, that's
for
why.
the VIPs.
Yep.
So Arlen, normally on the show, like I said, we just get right into our guest. Give us your name, age, when you started watching wrestling, and just kind of like what you're doing in the scene, and plug anything you'd like.
Cool. Yeah, I'm Arlen. I'm 26. I'm from Spirit Valley, Minnesota.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I've been wrestling since 2017. I've been watching wrestling since I was a baby, so you can imagine all the things I've seen.
Oh, don't worry, the light does it all the
Yeah,
time.
the light's gonna go on and off.
Got it.
It'll
Now I
come
know.
on at like the most inopportune time
Yeah.
and the most opportune time. It's really weird. You'll have an epiphany and it comes on.
Lost my idea.
I have to change. I'm not allowed to do that. I rent,
It's a
so
rental.
somebody else has to do it. If it was
Right,
me,
yeah.
it would have been fixed.
Right.
Yeah. So you're from Spirit Valley. You've been a fan since basically birth. Wrestling
More or
since
less.
2017. You said?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had my first match in October 2017.
Okay.
I wrestled under a mask as the Enforcer.
Oh.
Top secret.
We only have a worldwide audience.
There we go.
Is your secret safe with us?
Oh, wow. Then I transitioned to a character where I was also under a mask called the number one contender.
Oh.
Okay.
And
Did you ever come across the greatest wrestler in the world vacant?
once or twice.
Okay. All right.
He is out there.
He
He or
is,
she is
yeah.
out there often.
Recently got a new title. We'll talk
I
about
know.
that.
Must feel imposing to come across Vacant. I mean, just so many championships and just the aura of Vacant. You know, it's just
Ultimo
kinda
Dragon
crazy.
got nothing on him.
Nothing on Vacant.
They're like
Nothing.
all-encompassing.
Yes.
Like very
Yes.
godlike.
Right. So, like, are you mostly just based right now in the Midwest? You're not traveling too far for it?
Yeah, I have a real job I gotta be at. So
Yeah, well,
you know how it is.
Yeah.
So I mostly just wrestle on weekends when I'm available.
okay.
Yeah. But I am always available.
Well, we know some people across the country that
We
either might need you.
we do know some promoters. So
And,
hey, what's
and,
up?
Yes, we
and
do.
the quote-unquote creator of our show, who's also had a few physical run-ins with Leroy, technically also mostly does weekends and has made a
Yes.
very good career out of it, Mr.
Yes.
Darren Corbin.
Yes.
Oh,
he
yes.
has.
I don't know if you've seen our first ever interview, probably not, but Leroy got a little physical with Darren. And,
Yeah, it's well, Darren got a little physical with me, and my speech went up a little bit.
You angered the guy. I
Well,
told you this.
You know what?
We spent 2.5
Things
hours in
happen.
the car, and for some strange reason, all you talked about was wanting to anger the guy, and I was just like,
Well,
why?
Not intentionally, but next time we do an interview, I will come prepared. I told you that.
Well,
With proper gear.
great. Great.
He
So that-
took an epic nut shot.
yeah.
It was pretty epic.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
word.
As Arlen, he knows my old coworkers. Barbara brought this to Menards in West Duluth, and everybody in West Duluth Menards saw the last 2 minutes of the video because that's where I got hit.
It's a great 45-minute interview.
Yeah.
It was a great,
but
she just liked the last 2 minutes because I got hit.
the last 90
Gotcha.
seconds is
That-
just
that's-
Darren at his finest.
That's all she wanted.
It was almost like he was
And she was
saving
happy.
the shot just as he was walking away.
yeah.
I know, and it was great when that happened, and she showed everybody. Randy, my boss, sent me a text. Hey, how's your nuts?
I still say the best part
I'm
about
like,
that
"Damn
was
you, Randy."
I worked the next day and you didn't.
I know.
So no one had seen you yet. That was
I
the
know.
best part of that whole thing.
Hey, I said the only thing I had to tell Pat, it wasn't real.
Yeah, exactly.
So Pat would have kicked Darren's ass.
Right. Yes.
And he could
Yes,
not
you
have done
would've.
anything
No.
about it.
So anyway, Arlen, hopefully you get a chance to stick around for all the stuff. We have a loaded show today, so we'd love to have your insight on a bunch of stuff here.
Oh, yeah.
You know, can't wait for that.
Also, for those who don't know, and hopefully the video, at least the edited video, is still up. You can actually find that match on DPW's YouTube of Arlen's match in DPW.
And that's out now. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is,
It
yes.
was,
Yes.
It's an excellent match.
Yep.
Crowd, of course, behind you, hometown guy. Plus, your
love
opponent
me.
is a dickhead.
Yeah. Jesse's
Very
not.
hard to get
my
behind
head.
that person.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
even
he-
going to mention their name.
He was kind of he was kind of a dickhead.
Yeah. Just a little
X
bit.
is almost as big as Vacant.
Yeah,
Really? Okay. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah.
he's definitely
Hey,
as
and
physically.
oh yeah, it
opposed-
was X.
That is.
Yeah, Eben has a win over him too.
He does. Yes.
Down at Turtle Lake Show, Eben, my son, got a match against X and won.
That
Yeah.
we only
Zach-
have on photo though.
I
That's,
did
that's
not.
the
Yeah,
bad
I
part.
got
Yeah.
on photo,
that's
but
great.
Zach was the referee and
I
got
was,
the 3
yes.
count for him. So
I guess
my
impartial,
son is
mind you.
1-0 so far in
Yes.
his professional wrestling career. I'm so
All right.
proud of
Can't
him.
all be prodigy.
Eben and Owen Steen. Anyway,
There we go.
There we go.
people forget that video.
Yeah, I know.
He literally just pile drove the dude. Said screw it. He walked over to his wife sitting in a chair, picked up his son, and put him down.
There you
It's one
go.
of the funniest ROH clips I ever
really
saw.
is.
ROH is going to come up a little bit. So, all right, before we get into our opening topic, so Leroy, last
Yes.
week we had a very interesting show. You busted a gut laughing at a couple of things.
You know,
Um,
I'm gonna have to go and find and do like exclusive little clips of that.
Oh, there's more to come. Don't worry about that.
Just trust me, because me and
Yeah.
Jesse, when he was
Yeah,
yeah.
down about our thick-licious.
yeah. Thick Stratus.
Yeah.
There we go.
yeah.
Yeah, well, just hold off for a while. Hold off for a
Thicky
while.
Jane.
We don't have
Well,
5
well,
minutes yet. We don't have 5
Oh,
minutes
that's
yet.
right.
Okay.
That's
Hold
right.
on,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's right.
Anyway.
That's right.
We'll get into the
Yeah.
Great American Bash, so
Yeah,
you can talk
but
about it too.
but
so.
anyway, so before we get to our opening couple of topics, though, Leroy, I recently hit up Mr. Austin Creed of Up Down Down.
Oh,
okay,
And,
yeah.
and Leroy,
Yeah.
due to last week's show, Jesse seems to have a bit of a memory problem right now.
Oh,
so
really?
I had to reach out, and he borrowed me New Day's time machine.
Oh my God.
So basically,
Yes.
I have to go back
Wow.
2 weeks to find Jesse because we have to talk about the Bucks.
Yeah.
So I have to
All
go
right,
back
all right.
and I have to find Jesse. It was a long run. Now, don't get folks. Now I don't know. Did you see the segment on Raw when they did that? Kofi came out looking like 2015 or talking like he had a Jamaican accent again.
Oh no, I did.
Okay, yeah,
That was a very good
It's
episode.
it was a
I mean,
great
he
segment.
did
Yeah.
admit it was his best year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, it was. But so it was a long thing. Turns out, yes, time machines are incredibly difficult. I think I ended up in the SpongeBob Chrome episode at least
Oh.
twice.
Oh, that's a terrible place to end
Yeah,
up.
that was not fun. Turns out the screw job was worse live than people think it was. I don't know how I ended up there. I typed in the wrong year. But anyway, I only had to go back 2 weeks. I only had to go back 2 weeks, and I ended up.
Well, you
years-
didn't jump into an AEW show, did you? That would have been worse.
Well, luckily the time machine doesn't do fiction anyway, which is
or-
weird because we're on a wrestling show.
or
But anyway,
or Roads to the Top. You didn't get into that, did you?
that is forever burned into my memory, and America doesn't have to watch any more of it. So,
WWE
not yet.
You're right.
Oh, hey,
So
no.
far, WWE has saved people like Zach from that.
oh god. But no, so Leroy,
Yes.
I pulled him from 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
The ankle's a little worse. That might be why the ankle's so bad now. Is because the
Maybe
ankle was
'cause you
here.
did that
the
to him.
ankle
Oh
was
my
healing, and all of a
God.
sudden I brought you back. But anyway, so 2 weeks ago, Jesse is here
Yes.
Yes.
to talk about some topics that current Jesse would not have anything to do with.
Yes, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
glad you kind of came and grabbed me. My counterpart could not talk about these. He didn't even know who these guys were.
Yeah.
Didn't know where
We
they're
thought they were from Milwaukee. Turns out they're from California.
Yeah. You know, they must have did something really traumatic to me to make me forget who they are.
And I will say this.
so,
And I will say this. That Jesse, the time machine also proves not all black people look alike. Because I found a couple people that I thought was you.
Not in this case.
No. So the opening one, I kind of want to get out of here
All
because
right.
Arlen, on the show, we have two lovely gentlemen in front of me who, the best word I can describe is drool over a lovely indie star. Her name is Jordan Grace. That's the nicest thing that I could say. Jesse's about to get beaten up by an ROH champion because of it.
Probably.
But Jordan Grace had some words on
Yeah.
Twitter that she admitted was going to be a cold take. But
so she
go ahead, Jesse.
basically she was tweeted at talking
Yeah.
about Chris Benoit and how Chris Benoit would not fit in today's pro wrestling world. Her comment was, he couldn't hang with anyone in today's pro wrestling world, and may he burn in hell. Now,
Get it.
The last one, I get it. Like the way things ended, everyone has their feelings on it, and I have no problem with that.
I think we all have some very rough sort of feelings about that, and we all we push it to the side as far as we can.
But the first thing is stupid to me. Here's why, Arlen. This is why I feel this way. I'm not sure how much of Chris Benoit you remember growing up.
He's one of my go-tos.
Okay,
when I'm
so
doing tape study, so
it's one of the best technical wrestlers to ever live.
I'd say he's like top 5 ever.
Like,
Oh,
easily.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very easily. Him,
No question.
Brett. Brian only recently got himself up there because of the longevity coming back.
Right, yeah.
Like just some of the great technical wrestlers of
Because
all
Jesse's
time.
told me before, if it wasn't for this comeback, you couldn't put him up there because you don't think he had done enough technically leading up to. He had a Hall of Fame career, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but you were not ready for top 5 technical until this comeback.
I mean, really, it was the run in WWE that solidified him to me. Because in WCW, he was definitely booked as a lower tier guy. I only saw his Japan stuff after he passed away. But yeah, I just, when I read this, I went, even the best of us, and it's her opinion, and she can have her opinion, and I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
But even the best of us say the stupidest things on the planet.
I've said a lot.
And I've definitely said
Yeah.
a lot of stupid things.
Yeah, I've been there.
And to me, it was funny that she said that because one of her husbands, Jonathan Gresham's, once again, one of the best technical wrestlers in the world right now.
Yeah.
One of his favorite wrestlers growing up was Chris Benoit. Now, it's okay that she has a different opinion than what her husband has. That's not a problem. But it is a little weird that she would be so harsh on the fact that without a Chris Benoit, maybe there is no Jordan Grace. Because I'll explain why.
Yeah.
While she's a female powerhouse in her own way, she's also a very technical wrestler, in her own sense. In terms of her storytelling, the movesets, things of that nature. I don't think without a Chris Benoit kind of being out there like he was in WWE in the early 2000s, like that 2002 to 2006, I think is when the incident happened.
Yeah.
I don't think without him there's as many technical wrestlers out there, especially smaller guys who went, I don't want to fly all the time. I want to get down and dirty. I want to be able to adapt my style and be a mat-based wrestler. You know what I mean? And to kind of, and like I said, I have no problem with the opinion.
Yeah.
But for her, to me, with her, what bothered me about it was like, it seemed.
Is it a personal thing becoming
No.
a professional thing?
It just seemed really flippant of a great wrestler. Like, no matter how it ended.
Yeah.
And like I tell people, I get if whoever feels the way they do about it.
Mhm.
It broke my heart to learn the actual truth about it because
I think it broke all our hearts, yeah.
when it was originally reported, people thought that him and his family were killed.
Yes.
Not that he had killed his family and then killed.
Well, that's what they
himself.
were like
Yeah.
saying on that Raw.
Right.
The day after.
Because that's what they were told was the initial thought.
Right.
And so when we learned what actually happened, then even like WWE tried to basically blacklist his name and all that, which
Which
was a terrible move.
Yeah, and the rare video of Vince basically backing up his statements.
Right.
basically, yeah.
It just god awful move, but
Yeah.
to me, especially now as I've grown up, I still never dismiss his work in the ring because no matter how it ended, what he gave us, almost like Eddie. I mean, Eddie basically ended up leaving us because he couldn't overcome his own drug issues. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Broke my heart because I was supposed to go to that show in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
On the way down, heard about it, cried the whole way home.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels very flippant to go, that guy just would not hang in today's wrestling world. When even if if he was still at his peak physical, he was still around, I think he could be in the indies and wrestling with you guys and even showing you guys some stuff because he was so knowledgeable about the whole game of wrestling. So, Arlen, what's your thoughts on this?
Chris Benoit had like one of the most legendary careers. He went and he mastered wrestling in Japan.
Right.
He mastered wrestling in Canada.
What number?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. What number Tiger Mask was he?
I think he was like in the 10s. I think at that point.
Okay.
Tiger Mask has had a lot of wrestlers in that gimmick. But continue, Arlen.
Or was it Pegasus
it?
Kid?
Oh yeah, he was Pegasus.
It was
yeah,
Pegasus Kid.
no, I apologize.
He also might have been Tiger Mask too.
Yeah.
There's about 30 of them.
Okay.
I think they're only at 4.
Oh really? I
Yeah.
thought there was I thought someone said there might be like 30 of them. The history between Mexico and then
yeah. But anyway,
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Where was I?
One of the best in the world.
Yeah, he's he's one of the best ever. He was trained by the Hearts.
Right.
Like, if that's not enough, he's like
Right.
one of his biggest inspirations is the Dynamite Kid, who had the first 5-star match.
Right.
If that's not enough,
Right.
he wrestled for like an hour in the 2004 Royal Rumble
Yes.
and eliminated the Big Show to
Yeah.
win.
Right.
Yeah.
If that's not enough, he beat both of DX at WrestleMania that year to win the title.
Is it so? I mean, so for someone that, like you said, you know, he's like a go-to tape study.
Yeah.
As someone who is able to realize there is an in-ring and an out-ring to a name, I'll say.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I think his son David would like there to be a little bit better look at it. Because obviously, it seems like his son David has like come to grips with at least his own reality.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe so.
So
yeah.
my question to you, someone who that's a go-to for you, is it hard to hear people in the industry discount the the thing that he was ultimately great at?
Yeah, I'm not really fond of that. If you're not aware of like the greatness of the past, you're missing out on so much.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Like one of my favorite things to watch right now is like 90s All Japan. I'm like
That's
super,
Jesse's bread and
That's
butter right
Jesse's,
there.
definitely. Yeah.
like I've been super into Miracle Violence. Connection
Okay. Yeah.
matches,
Woo. That's good stuff right
Yeah.
there.
Kawada and
Yeah.
Bashi.
Oh yeah.
So basically,
By the way, for those who don't know, I mean that stuff is even more violent than current New Japan and Noah. Like, it's so good though.
forget what you two
So
were talking
good.
about. Their tag team roster in the 90s, the All Japan tag team roster.
Oh,
I
the
mean,
All Japan tag team roster in the '90s was crazy. But I just, just thinking about the man Hibashi, like those are guys who don't. It's crazy even in their own country.
yeah.
Like unless they were like a hardcore wrestling fan, don't get the respect they deserve from back then.
Right.
Like, it like in the like when you watch the tape, it is so good, and you're like, dude, why did no one know about this kind of stuff? Like, yeah, it's incredible.
And I guess that's a question I have also, Arlen, when you've done your training, when you've worked with people of like varying styles, and you know, what would you say is the biggest like name? Have you worked with any former like television guy? Okay, yeah.
So in like my 15th match, I wrestled Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Okay.
And that was-
okay.
That was his style is very simple. You know, just beat him up. He'll come back and beat you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although it's funny, Jesse will actually say, but he knows how to do it, and Hogan doesn't. But that's just Jesse's personal opinion.
I agree, but go ahead, continue, Arlen.
Last year I wrestled JTG
Oh,
Okay,
that's
yeah.
awesome. That's
in
awesome.
a couple tags,
All right.
and then I've wrestled Sin Bodhi,
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
and I was trained by Eugene, so I've wrestled him.
Right.
million
Yeah.
times,
So basically, there's some.
Eugene has such a mind for pro wrestling.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
does.
he really
Genius.
does.
Like it was. Anytime I think of Eugene, I always think it's shocking that Vince didn't get more out of him than just that one character. Like, because he's also done some interviews, and I've just listened to him talk, and I'm just like, man, when I wanted to kind of be a pro wrestler myself 10 years ago, I wish Eugene would have had a school back then. Because I'd probably be a pro wrestler right now. Because just to listen to his like understanding,
It's a very and to more recent comparison, it's a very Danhausen style thing in the sense that when you listen to the Sean Ross Sapp interview with Danhausen, you wouldn't know that it was Danhausen. But I mean, like when you listen to
that, yeah, you know what? You might. It is very comparable.
Yeah.
Danhausen is a genius, especially marketing wise in pro wrestling, because he has an understanding, one, of what he is as a wrestler.
Yeah.
And then two, okay, how do I market myself to gain a bigger audience, even without any company backing me? To be honest, before we talk about the Bucks, it's actually, to me, the one thing he does better than them is the understanding of, like, this is who I am, this is the gimmick. I live the gimmick, but the gimmick pays for my family, you know, my kid. Like, it just it's just very brilliant ways of thinking, and it elongates his career because he doesn't take too many extreme bumps or anything like that. So
there is a bump card in wrestling, you know. I mean, some guys.
Some guys punch him a lot quicker than others.
And
yes.
And if you ask Jesse, there's two quote pillars of AEW whose punch cards are about to come up real quick.
Could I guess?
Darby Allin for sure. That's
And Sammy Guevara.
Those are the two that I was referring to. Yeah.
He's just gonna die.
Yeah.
Sammy-
Darby's just gonna die, and it's gonna be a sad. Because here's the thing, I think so. Me and my cousin were just talking about Darby Allin because he got to meet him when we went to a PWG show before. I did not get the chance.
Jesse ran the PWG circuit for a while.
For a little bit. California's a really cool place, but it's also too expensive, so I would never live there.
True.
As bad as Florida.
It's really expensive.
The amount of money the amount of money you have to make just to live in Duluth, for God's sakes, I can imagine.
I know, that's why I gotta have a job.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I'm over here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's cheaper.
I would almost think if you try to be a indie wrestler based out of California, you need 4 jobs because I don't know how you live there on a.
I don't know how anybody does it down there.
Well, apparently, Jesse, apparently the Bucks pay very well for stooges because your boy, because your boy in the mask makes pretty good money.
Before we get into that,
Jesse's Brandon Cutler rant is legendary on this show.
My cousin got to meet Darby.
Yeah.
And even back then, apparently his words were, I want to try to outdo everything that Mick Foley did. Mick Foley can barely walk at 50.
Yes.
Like, the fact that he's still alive is the greatest blessing of all time.
The fact that he didn't die on camera from either Hell in a Cell drop is still a mystery to all of us.
Either Hell in a Cell, getting pedigreed into thumbtacks, dangerous as shit, because that can go into your eyes and kill you. Yeah, that could have been it right there.
Yeah.
Being thrown off of ladders, edge spearing you through a table of fire. Like, the dude probably should have died.
Got his ear ripped off.
The saddest part about this is
tournament.
Yeah. Well, the saddest part about this is that the majority of what Jesse just said was after Hell in a Cell.
I don't even go deep into that run in Japan with what's the name's company back in the. They all probably should have died a few times. Even though it's, like I tell people, it's the most entertaining tape on the planet.
Oneida, by the way, is you're thinking about. Yeah,
it's
Oneida got them paid pretty well though for that tournament.
For sure.
And I've actually done the read.
Was Terry Funk doing that then too?
There, yeah.
Terry Funk. I'm happy he's still alive. He's another one. But that's the whole point with Darby Allin.
I'm surprised he's still alive. Too.
Like in today's age, there are so many ways to protect you guys that, you know, the thought of a booker probably, while one is to get the most money out of you possible, of course, and help you get, you know, paid and get your name out there, is also, hey, we seen kind of how the early 2000s and the 90s went. Why don't we protect these guys? Like, why don't we protect these guys and gal, protect their futures? Because you never know which one, as WWE has shown you, if they become a movie star after or something like, and that benefits you in the future because now you can go, hey, we're a way for you to do whatever your dreams desire. And Darby seems to have this mindset, and I respect it, but it's just like, dude, you're not even 30 yet. And he was walking to an interview. I just saw this on YouTube a couple days ago. Yeah. He was walking to an interview, and he's barely able to, like, limp walk to an interview. And it's just like, dude, you're not even 30 yet.
I still think the strangest part about Darby Allin is you're working day to day with a guy who, quote unquote, has had one of the longer careers at the top in Sting.
Right.
But yet it's weird because now Sting's trying to do crazy stuff because I don't know if that's him working with Darby or like what it is, or if he's just trying to prove to WWE, see what I can do. And Vince is like, I still wasn't gonna let you do it. Like you're 61 with a broken neck.
He's having a midlife crisis again.
That's-
You are not jumping off of one of my WWE stages that are almost 100 feet tall
Yeah.
onto some dudes I don't care about.
That's amazing.
No.
Yeah.
Dude, he
could've
barely
been.
let The Undertaker fly in matches in WrestleManias. So apparently on the AEW biography, I can't believe I'm giving WWE free promotion. You guys should pay me for this.
A&E because you said
Sorry,
AEW. Yeah.
AWE. But yeah, A&E biography. Undertaker actually talks about apparently how like Vince got on his ass the first time he did the flying thing, which the first Shawn Michaels match.
I think
Man's
Shawn
Drive?
saved his life
Yeah.
because of the camera guy.
Well, Shawn helped.
Yeah.
But the camera guy apparently screwed up the spot. But still, Vince was pissed because he was like, dude, you're almost 50.
Yeah.
If that goes wrong on your neck, one, that's hard to explain to your family.
Yeah.
And two, that is a liability and a hurt I don't need in my heart. Like Owen Hart sucked for all of them. Like that is not something I need to see again.
So
Yeah.
I guess for me, you've got Chris up there. Who are some other guys that you go to for like tape watching? Because okay. Second question before we get to the list. How much of percentage-wise, if you could give it, of your like training is actually tape watch? I think people don't look at wrestling as a tape watching sport.
Right, yeah. So I don't live near any wrestling schools.
Right.
So I don't get ring time on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, I watch hours and hours of wrestling, obviously, and I'll just do my at-home workouts.
Yeah.
You know, squats and stuff. And I work a very physical job delivering furniture. So
That helps.
that helps with my strength.
Right.
Yeah.
And I try to eat healthily, and you know, that's how I stay ready for wrestling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But as far as tape study, I've been really big into Perry Saturn
Okay.
lately.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. It's pretty good.
Raven is
Oh,
always been a go-to.
just a classic.
I love that guy.
Jesse hasn't. The way I've heard Jesse talk about Raven before, he has an unhealthy obsession with Raven.
He's
Honestly, same.
he's like the big
best.
brother I wish I had.
Right.
Like,
Oh my god.
He's a big influence on.
It's scary
me
the
and my
mind he
character.
had for wrestling. Not like the character Raven, but the guy Raven.
He's so smart.
and
He
it was,
get-
and unfortunately was so underappreciated for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of you guys are doing a lot of what he was going to try to do anyway.
Yeah.
And people told him no all the time, and it's just like, even Paul Heyman, admitted I probably told Raven no more than I should have, and I'm like, you're one of the best minds I've ever seen, Paul. How do you tell that guy no?
Right.
But yeah, Raven is incredible.
Yeah. So Raven. Basically, if you were in the flock, I'll be a big fan.
That's fair. That's fair. He never worked with any like bad people either. I mean, he usually
No.
worked with some pretty people.
Billy Kidman.
Kidman.
who
Yeah.
was-
Sick Boy was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody else know flock members?
There were a few.
Van Hammer.
Yeah.
I'm glad you remembered his name, because I was going to be like, there was this big dude, but I can't remember his damn name off the top of my head. Yeah, Van Hammer.
And who can forget Stevie Richards?
Oh,
Oh God, yes.
How did I forget
Stevie is
Richards?
Stevie
I watch
is
Stevie
Jesse's
Richards
guy.
matches often.
I often think a lot of wrestlers probably emulate a lot of Shawn Michaels, which if you're
Yeah,
gonna
he's another go-to.
well, he's to me my number one goat. I just it's hard to go back, watch that whole career and be like, yeah, I don't know who's been more influential in today's pro wrestling but Shawn Michaels.
Well, you put him in your top 5 for people the Bucks had emulated. So I mean that was part
Yeah,
of
he
it.
should have been number one. If he was,
He was.
one,
He was.
he?
Yeah. No. He was.
Because clearly it's who they emulate, but they probably should have been emulating Stevie Richards.
Honestly, yeah, he was a what's the word? Goof. He was a goofy guy.
Goof, but
He was a putz.
but also genuinely entertaining. Like and genuinely safe, like at all times. Like
The Blue World Order should have never worked, but you give it to a guy like Stevie, and he got it over.
the Blue Meanie as a kid. By the way, I got to meet him once or twice. That character should have never worked, and yet it worked perfectly.
Wrestling fans are the strangest people.
There's a lot of people in.
Yes,
And
we know.
there's-
a lot of people in the flock.
Well, no, there's 3 NK. There was ECW. There was
There
WCW.
was TNA, CM Punk
Well,
was in
basically,
it.
Ray. Well,
And TNA.
Serotonin was his group in TNA.
No, the Gathering and Serotonin.
Serotonin,
Yeah.
because he had Frankie Kazarian in there for a short
Yeah,
time.
for a short time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
I would
yeah.
say Sin and Slash Runner too.
Yes.
Havoc, Kaz,
You know, since we're
Frontier,
about to get into AEW,
Cassidy Riley,
do
CM
wanna
Punk
say
was
this.
in there.
Yep.
it is incredible to me to think about a Frankie Kazarian, and maybe even though you got to study under Eugene as you were coming up. And I'm guessing I'm projecting my hopes of your wrestling future onto you real quick, but I would actually, after watching your match and remembering your match with X, and hopefully I'll get to see more of your stuff. I really do hope to see more of your stuff because you're very good.
Well, you can come catch me in Baudette for Midwest All Star Wrestling.
Oh,
MAW, good old
Jesse's,
Dave.
well, to be fair, Jesse has some receipts he owes MAW, so he needs to start going to some shows
I do.
because you promised to be there a few times and you found ways out of it.
Dave's gonna
What
have
are you
my
doing
ass if I
Friday,
don't-
bud?
Well, I mean, I'll be in town for it, so
Well, you better
might
get
come
up
check it
there.
out. Yeah,
Might
is
as well.
that this Friday?
That's this
Yeah,
Friday.
it's Friday.
Okay. Yeah.
I will not be here next week to announce that right now. We'll say at the end of the show. Also, I'm gone most of the week because I will be getting thrown out of a Minnesota Twins game. and
Great.
half drunk watching the White Sox. So you guys take care of the show for a week. I'll
You
be back.
just would fit in with the White Sox fans. That's all.
Oh, look, okay. I'm gonna watch Jim Cott first. All right, can
All
I
right,
watch
all
Jim
right,
Cott
okay.
give a speech and
Then you can
we'll
get
thrown
drunk.
out?
But as I was saying,
Yeah, go ahead.
as we started talking about the Twins, and I'll try to make that show. I'll try to make that show.
That'd be
I
awesome.
just realized I will be down there on Friday, so yeah.
And you're off that day, aren't you?
I'm about to say we'll be down there the whole day, so yeah. I think
Yeah,
me and my buddy will be
that'd be
there.
awesome.
Okay, yeah. Leroy, give him some business cards
I
because he's low.
actually hope.
I'll have a stack of them.
I actually hope maybe your career turns out like a Frankie Kazarian, and here's what I mean. One, you get to become so well respected. Two, you don't have to leave home too often. One of the things Frankie Kazarian has been blessed to do before TNA and AEW, and TNA actually still allowed him to be home because they taped a lot, of course.
Yeah,
Right.
But was the fact that he really didn't leave California too much, so he got to still be a dad and be there for his family. He's not a dad, but be there for his family.
Right, yeah.
Right.
And three, I hope you get to win as many championships as possible that people go look up and go, oh, wait, he did win that. Oh, wait, he did. Wait, why don't we talk about this guy as one of the best of our generation?
That's what I'm talking about. Bring it on.
Because Frankie Kazarian...
If there's anything that this show will do, we will promote you like there is absolutely nothing better to do in our lives.
Because
We're good at
Going,
that.
guys.
I think it would be
I love
great.
it.
I think it would be great for Duluth to have someone like that because it's what a story for people to tell. Like, man, dude, he used to work for a local furniture company and yet became one of the best known pro wrestlers on the planet.
I want to be the Bruno Sammartino of Duluth.
That's
That
not
would
a
be
that's not a bad name to throw
That's-
out. That's not a bad.
That's the actually that's better than the one I just threw out.
That
there.
is yes.
He was doing
I
that.
I want to be the biggest guy here. I can
Right.
walk down the street and people are like, "Oh, Arlen, how's it going?
Well, because-
I love
well-
you."
Oh,
because
come on,
as
come to my
Jesse will
house,
say,
hang out.
coming from that area, Jesse Bruno was known in New York City.
oh, Bruno got free meals in New York City.
That's what I want.
Right,
Never-
I'm a
never-
very hungry boy, and I would like to eat for free.
He'll go in and like, wait a minute, didn't I hear you on 13 Card Subject to Change podcast? Yeah, you did.
Listen,
Well, we can try.
We'll also selflessly promote ourselves.
right.
Of course.
But
Zero issue with that.
I mean, that's an even better name because Bruno, luckily working for the WWF, never had to leave New York.
No.
So he could still work, but he was so well known because he was champion for 3 years, which Roman's getting real close.
Do you think Vince will actually chase
No.
the Bruno?
No.
There's
Number?
no.
It depends
That's
on how
over-
long Vince is around.
That's true.
That's over
true.
2,000.
But if you ask Jesse, who's going to beat the man other than maybe Jay White?
he was champion for 4 years was Bruno Sammartino. That's
8.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8
8
years.
years.
Yeah, it was 8 years.
It was over
yeah.
3,000 plus days. Like,
It was
a long.
like they can't do that now because fans would get people are already turning on the Roman thing, and we're barely a year and a half into it.
I don't
2
know.
years in.
I don't know.
2 years.
I don't know. Fort Worth.
I think he won it at SummerSlam, right?
Did he?
2 SummerSlams
did.
ago, Jesse.
Yeah, it was
he-
SummerSlam.
yeah.
So
Because
2
Jesse.
years next
Yeah,
month.
it's about 2 years.
Yeah. Because Universal is over 650 days. Now.
That's right.
The
That's
WWE
right.
title's been shorter because he got that
He
from
got
Brock
it
at
at
WrestleMania.
WrestleMania.
Yeah, you got
but-
that at Mania.
Yeah. So anyway, so we'll get into this stuff right here. We've got our friends over. Go ahead.
He had his 2 champions, or his longest reign as a single champion was 2,803 days.
Okay. Yeah.
His 2 years, his 2 title reigns as
Yeah.
WWE champion.
Yeah.
11 years, 4,040 days.
Right. Yeah. But
No one
Crazy.
can.
Yeah.
No one can touch that.
Well, back then,
Bob Backlund and Pedro
Yeah.
Morales are both close, but
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Bob Backlund had such a fun gimmick towards the last run in WWE. People forgot how good he actually.
I think
Oh,
only
Darren Young or
No.
talking about the 94?
Either one.
He was.
Bob was fun in
Backlund's
general.
Awesome.
Yeah. No. Bob's just fun in general, but like people forget how good Bob Backlund actually freaking was.
It's a damn shame he's not talked about more in Minnesota pro wrestling circles.
Yeah, he's from here.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
it's kind of shocking. Like anytime I talk with
Princeton, Minnesota.
Yeah.
like anytime I talk with either different companies I'll go see or help or whatever.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. He doesn't come up because especially the younger minds don't know who he is, and I'm like, guys, he's probably Minnesota's outside of Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
He might be
Yeah,
one of
he's-
Minnesota's greatest wrestling products. Like
I'd say
was
Mr.
definitely more
Perfect is a goat, but
Yeah.
He was definitely more successful, but no one will deny that.
and of
Mr.
course Brock Lesnar nowadays, but
he's from South Dakota.
well,
He
but
was a
appar-
transplant. He
But
was a
grew up in
transplant.
He
Yeah.
grew up in Farmington, they say, so that
Yeah.
they try to claim
Yeah.
He
him.
doesn't even claim Minnesota.
I'm
He
about to say
claims
he
Canada
hates
now.
Brock Lesnar doesn't claim anything of anything. He doesn't give a
Canadian.
rat's hairy ass.
He claims
He
Canada.
went to Saskatchewan. He doesn't give a shit.
Brock
about
Lesnar has a
people.
full functioning farm.
He's just buying as much land as he can. He's conquering Canada.
Okay, he's in Canada
Brock
with a
Lesnar-
very beautiful, big-breasted blonde.
I don't know about beautiful anymore, but it is his wife.
That is fair.
She's still
Brock
hot.
Lesnar at
And
some
kids.
point will make so much money, and the dollar will switch over to where the U.S. dollar will be so much more than the Canadian dollar. He will own Saskatchewan, and he will kick everybody out. That's how Brock feels about people.
He does hate people.
He does hate people.
genuinely hates
He'll just
people.
give him that look, and everybody will just
But
leave.
since we're getting into our friends down there in Florida, all Friends Wrestling, we
Oh.
hope to not kill any possibility you have down there. We've worked with a few people that still
Right,
work down there,
right.
so they don't hate us yet, but we have a lot to talk about.
Everybody loves me.
There you go.
Good.
It's okay.
Perfect. Then we won't affect any of this. The first thing to talk
Barbara
about,
has always said good things about him,
Yeah.
so here we go.
the worst thing that we have to get to isn't even in ring. Jesse, it's your boy Omega.
So Kenny Omega, by the way, I still hope he gets healthy because he was.
We
one of
all
my
hope that he
favorite-
gets help. No one is asking for Kenny never to come back because
Right.
if anything, Kenny has an audience and Kenny has put on some very decent programs, matches, whatever you
Right,
want to say.
right.
There's a place for Kenny Omega, just maybe
Right.
not where he always thinks he should be.
But Kenny
yeah.
Omega decided
Yep.
in an interview. By the way, for the AEW game, do we even have a release date on this?
I thought it was in
No.
September, but then all of a sudden they took that down. I thought in September they were going to drop the game, and then now I got nothing.
So Leroy's
right.
our live research guy. He's gonna check this out.
We might not have enough time left in the show to find that deep buried cut.
It
I
was
don't know when it's coming out.
it was
but
supposed to
should
be
in it.
February of this year.
Yeah, it was.
So we're still waiting on this AEW game.
3 years. 3 years on a video game, on a wrestling game.
But
Better be good.
Yeah,
it
right.
better be excellent. Waiting
And-
3 years.
After 3 years, yes.
By the way, I mean they could try to pull a WWE and still have Cody in it. I guess. I mean, he's
Yeah, no.
gone and.
Kenny Omega
Well,
said
Kenny
he
already
wants
said he's
him
in there,
it,
yeah.
Oh,
so
did he?
he's still in
Okay.
it, yeah.
Okay.
Kenny actually, quote,
Yeah.
quote confirmed he's in the game because he doesn't want to take down what Cody helped build. So I mean, that was the only good thing he said in one of his interviews.
Which is why Bray had one of the largest payouts for a guy who got fired because they still had to keep him in the game.
Yeah. And everybody played as him.
And also, they still had to get rid of all that merchandise.
That was a lot of merchandise.
That's why I told people, I'm like, they could always bring him back because they just owe him way too much money.
They really do.
They don't have an official release date.
That's all we needed to know.
But reporters still are looking for September 2022.
That
We
is
got 2
literally
months, guys.
45 to 60 days away. And the only thing that I still know is that apparently titles will be defended all across the internet. We don't know if that's platform to platform. We just know across the internet. And I have a still frame of him looking like he's out of the friggin' last kids WWE game they just did, looking like Ultimate Warrior in the bad years. But anyway.
So Kenny decided to mention Jim Cornette. Now, Jim Cornette is a guy that gets quoted a lot on here. These two are fans of Jim Cornette, Zach and Leroy. I'm half and half on the guy. I think he's an old curmudgeon, but there's just times where he is right.
It's like the same thing as Benoit.
Right,
Like,
right.
You can't deny his knowledge and
Right.
expertise just because of, like,
The man knows pretty much
Who
anything
and
and everything that's
how
happened in
he
wrestling going back to the
is.
Great Depression. Like, I mean, he's a wealth of wrestling knowledge.
And
It was a
as-
tough time back
And
then.
as much of an old curmudgeon I do think he is, and while I don't ever think I would be invited on the show unless he, say this grows, and he was just like, well, I'm looking to argue with someone for the next 3 hours, so because that's all that would be is an entertainment argument for
We
3
would
hours.
get paid off that episode in ways that would never exist.
right.
But one of the things he has been right about is he said, because he didn't watch a lot of Kenny in New Japan,
Right.
and he did say, like, he loved the Okada matches. Like, how can no one not love the Okada feud in New Japan and all that? Like, it's like wrestling history stuff that even if I have grandkids, they'll be talking about.
It's up
when they're
there
growing
in
up.
probably my top 5 trilogies. I
Yeah,
mean, like, and there's a lot of trilogies
Right,
in wrestling,
right,
but
right.
Oh, yeah.
I would say it's up there just because for some reason, whether or not you're a Japan fan or not, when you watch it, and Jesse has said this about Okada many times, Jesse has cried at the mention of Okada.
He's the most beautiful man on the planet.
When you watch those two guys together,
Oh, yeah.
their aura did make you think this was bigger than anything in that moment.
I mean,
Like,
it was excellent.
Yeah.
Plus, of course, the history with Chaos and Bullet Club. So, I mean, there's just so much good stuff in there. One of the things Jim Cornette said, and unfortunately Kenny himself proved Jim Cornette right during his title reign, was that Kenny did not want to adapt to how to get a larger, not hardcore American fan base into your company. And basically what he meant was one of the things WWE does, whether people like it or not, but he said, I've known Vince for a long time, and what he's tried to do since the early 90s is get non-wrestling fans into pro wrestling. Mm-hmm. And you may not like it all the time, and Jim has admitted he didn't like it when he was there at times.
No.
Which is why a couple times they let him shoot promos on Raw, which, by the way, people go find them. It's entertaining as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then they basically would go to the ring and act like Jim didn't say shit and then move on.
Yeah.
Is that, like, Kenny, you had 2 years to help your buddies understand how to maybe get a larger audience into AEW, and instead you and your buddies decided to do what you and your buddies wanted to do. Now, he had no problem with that, because you guys, hey, credit where credit is due, especially the guy who you guys kind of stopped talking to, Cody. Even though Cody said he does still talk to Kenny at least, not the Bucks as much, but that's for other reasons. He just put a photo out of himself teaching some of the kids that the Bucks got into pro wrestling at the Nightmare Factory.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Which is awesome. Like, Cody's a great
For
guy.
all intents and purposes, I have never heard a bad thing about Kenny Omega the person.
No.
For all intents and Brian last said this during the experience that, and this I have heard from people, he's a weird, odd dude. But first of all, you said this earlier. Welcome to wrestling. It's just we are the oddest.
I'm a weird odd.
We are the weirdest, oddest people in the world. But we love this. So no, I've never heard a bad word about Kenny the person.
Right.
It's just one of the things that I think Jesse's trying to get to is basically what ended up happening was Kenny said that Jim is saying this because Kenny's been on this train for a while that it's a character. Anyone that knows Jim Cornette from like the 60s and 70s and 80s, there's no character in this. The man legitimately doesn't give a shit and will say whatever the hell he wants because he enjoyed COVID because nobody was allowed to come to his house and not even the contractors. Like, he's mad at the contractors that come over to the castle and have to do all the work on the lawn and everything. But like,
I don't blame him for that.
You know, it's interesting because Brian's tried to bring some perspective to this, the great Brian Last from the 605. And I think it's fair to mention because you say you don't recognize Kenny Omega in America compared to what he was in Japan.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've watched a lot of Kenny's stuff in Japan versus what he did here. I'm not sure necessarily.
I saw a lot of his, well, most of his stuff here, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen as much in Japan.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
Aside from everything since the Omega trilogy, or the Okada trilogy,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
the Jericho match.
Right. Okay.
Right,
so
right.
okay. So but see, the thing is that it basically comes down to, and this is, as Jesse's pointed out on the show, the ego of Kenny Omega, not the Kenny from Canada.
Right.
Jim just doesn't like his version of wrestling.
Right.
Now, Jesse, you've said it, and we all agree. Wrestling is subjective.
It's
Right.
ice cream.
Yep, exactly.
There you go.
There's
Yes.
plenty of flavors for everybody. There's
Right.
way more than 52 flavors. But like, here's the deal. He's never enjoyed his style of wrestling,
Right.
and I hate to sort of pick a side, but the truth is that when you look at what Jim has said in that wrestling has lost 75 to 80% of the audience that it had back in the 80s and 90s when it really took off, he's not been wrong at what you do, what you and your friends do. It's not conducive to growing wrestling, to bringing people back who left in the 80s to wrestling. Like Kenny gets to a point where, and this is from me personally, not coming from Jesse or anyone else, bro, at some point you have to accept the fact that he's right about things, you might be right about things, but the way wrestling works is you're not proven right till 10 years later when when we have the data to look at.
Right.
And the other thing about it is that Jim was on major television in almost every territory he worked in. There was no indies back then because they were all such big companies. We talked about it. They ran, like, one territory ran 5 shows in one night in 5 different towns.
Right.
2 were on television, 3 were just sold out 500 people things that were
Right.
done for 2 hours.
Right.
But so it's like, Kenny might be over in Japan, but he was also right about something that Jim said, and Jesse, this is your territory. Kenny was never walking through the streets like a giant Baba did. He wasn't walking through the streets like Inoki.
No, but like I've always said, he was still a mega superstar over there. I mean, he was featured in toys.
He was in an
commercials.
anime too. They had an anime about
that's
him
what I
and
mean.
Bullet
Like,
Club.
they literally put him in like 2 animes, like just as
Dr.
himself.
Master
Yeah.
I think what Jim
And he was in their video game too.
Yeah.
And I think what Jim hates, and I'll give Kenny credit for this for once. Look, folks, when you go over to Japan, it's a much different place. It's a much different culture. They enjoy things.
Let's repeat that. It is a much different culture.
Very clear about that. But it's just, Jesse, over there, they don't look down on him wrestling with the dolls or the kids. That's not that's not something that's held against him. Now, New Japan is not going to show highlights of that. New Japan is not going to have that match. But New Japan doesn't make you a joke guy just because you did that.
Right.
In America, it's a different story because in America, and I'll be first to say, we are the worst when it comes to watching shows because we look back and say, wow, that show was awesome. And I'm like, fuck you, it had 3 seasons because you didn't watch. That's me with a lot of cartoons. It bothers me. But we have such different attention spans that the Japanese audience has that they can look at it in a vacuum. We cannot.
Right.
And I'll admit, I can't call Kenny the greatest wrestling person on the planet because I've seen these weird things, but that's me coming from an American style.
Sure.
What I grew up with was not only 90s and 80s Vince, but early 2000s when it was still somewhat of a serious product.
Right.
And Vince had his comedy segments, but they were very few and far between. And back then in the early 2000s, we didn't okay, we would see a comedy segment at like the half-hour mark.
Sure.
We didn't talk about it in the main event, but nowadays people are tweeting about that thing 2.5 hours after it happened.
Right.
And I'm sitting there looking at myself like, can we just watch what's in front of us?
Right.
Like I mean, it was supposed to be the first half hour. It's supposed to just be entertaining.
Right.
Now you've got the big people. This is why you paid the money.
Right.
But in Japan, the audience sees Kenny Omega in the presentation that Gato gave him, and he's Kenny Omega.
Right.
He's arguably the greatest at that point. He was
Right.
with the PWL Top 50. He was our number one, I think 1 or 2 years in a row. Because,
Yeah, I believe so,
that was
yeah.
during the trilogy, and he wasn't wrestling a lot, but when he was in there, holy crap.
I mean, because during those 2 years, I mean, the Okada matches are one thing, but the matches with Naito, the Cody Rhodes match, which was kind of the end of the Elite Bullet Club stuff.
Yeah.
That was some damn good matches.
Was great shit.
Wow.
The stuff when him and Ibushi actually got back together as the Golden Lovers was phenomenal.
And then there's the other thing that Jesse pointed out. The other thing that you talked about, Arlen, and our hopes for your career, which, again, we all second that. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, guys.
here's to you being the Bruno of the Midwest. There's no issue with that. But
And I mean, the fact that he came on to this little nothing podcast.
Exactly.
It's gonna be a great thing to tell my grandkids. I mean, I know him before. He was the big guy.
There you
He's
go.
great. I mean, he's great.
But the one thing that again, this whole thing is a juggling act for me, trying to give one guy credit, give the other guy credit,
Right,
trying
right.
to be on,
Well,
fair
yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
you gotta do it.
Jim made a good point. Your style is now at a point where you're probably never going to work a full schedule again, or you're going to end up with like permanent brain damage.
All the injuries, the fact that he had to have that many surgeries was telling.
He had 3 major and a major minor surgery.
Yeah.
Well, again, the whole sinus issue thing is not a big deal.
Right.
The recovery's about 2 to 3 weeks.
But because
if
he
it's
had
bad.
to have so much done, it was
Yeah.
just like he might be gone 2 years.
You think that video game is delayed? We have no idea when
we
Kenny's
have
gonna be back
no
in the ring.
idea when
Yeah.
Kenny's
We have
gonna
no
get back in the
clue,
ring.
and we do want him to be healthy.
Yeah.
But I think what and again, this will go into a slight side topic that is part of this.
Like we always do.
Yeah,
What are you talking
there's been so much said.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
it's normal for us.
A lot of the toxic guys that create a lot of the wrestling wars
Mm-hmm.
these days, they say things and then they get caught with the wrong foot in their mouth.
Right.
A la formerly of the Disneyland ride, Joey Ryan. Joey was the guy who said to Jim, "You."
Finish it.
Yeah, he got something stuck in his-
question.
Yeah. Okay.
about? He got something stuck in his
He
mouth.
was the guy. He was the guy that told Jim, "You need to get your toxicness and the guys from your era who were the awful, guys in wrestling. We have to get them
Sure.
out. Wrestling's a better place." And then he just fell flat on his goddamn face because, bro, you were the worst of all of
So
them.
before I ask Harlan why that was his reaction, I'll just let Arlen go ahead and hear what we've kind of had to say about Joey. I thought Joey was a smart promoter,
Yeah.
but a terrible fucking person.
Yeah.
But also not a good pro wrestler. And as I've told people, what all Me Too really did was expose the fact he was a terrible person, expose the fact that too many people were protecting him, and then number 3 was then easy to just see when people went back and watched the matches. We're like, oh yeah, he's garbage.
I mean, I wouldn't say that he's a terrible wrestler
Okay.
because again, it's different flavors.
Sure.
It is subjective, yeah.
Sure.
To like the non-wrestling fan, if my brother who doesn't watch wrestling
Sure.
put on a Joey Ryan match and saw some dude grab his dick and now he's gonna do a flip.
Yeah.
He'd think it was the greatest shit ever.
Oh, yeah.
That was the thing. So when that spot first happened, I think it
By
was
the way,
in
it
Bar
wasn't
Res.
to me. It was never the dick flips that bothered me. So it was. What are they called for the Undertaker? The Druids. So it was
yeah,
the dick
Druids.
Druids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it was supposed to be funny,
I loved it.
but I was just like, "What is this? Is the shit that's hard to explain about pro wrestling?"
Which has now been, by the way, edited out of All In.
No. They should have kept it. You let it happen.
He got Benoit.
He did. He straight up got Benoit.
That's what we take. We
By
got
the way,
Benoit.
He got Benoit from Disneyland.
And he shouldn't have got Ben. And here was my thing about.
He shouldn't have been
Disneyland
hired
thing.
in Disneyland for Christ's
He
sake.
shouldn't have been. Their
He
background
lied.
check didn't catch it.
He lied.
I don't even know if he lied.
Which, by the way, going back to the
He
man's
fucking
personality, if you're as big a star as you thought, I'm pretty sure that your wrestling persona would have come up in a background check.
This-
This was the delusion that
This
that,
is the only
Mr.
thing that
Meehan
might get us
had.
flagged today. Have you seen Disney's new CEO?
Okay. Okay, if Joey Ryan would have came to Quick Trip to apply it, I'm like, that's a dick boy. Get them the fuck out of here. That's what I would have told my boss.
I'm not against the man making money, but please not around children.
No.
That's all I'm asking.
Listen, I think
Working in an office building, I
he
don't
could
care.
have worked as a security guard and been fine. Like, because
Yeah.
he's a big dude. I would have had no problem. I don't think he should have been completely Once again, have you met Bob Chapek? This guy is a clown. And I'm going to try not to yell today because we have Arlen on the show.
Yeah.
But that dude is an omega clown. But yeah, I don't know. Joey Ryan, to me, the biggest thing for me was he said all that, and yet he was one of the worst commentators of like starting pro wrestling wars within the indie division as well, and indie wrestling stuff as well.
Yeah.
And it was just like that's to me why I used to think like this guy's a piece of crap.
I'm not
like, all he
asking-
does is act like he's
Yeah.
doing the greatest things on the planet.
Yeah. I'm not asking
He's
necessarily for you to talk about individuals that you've met through your travels and
Right,
everything,
right.
but like, what is it like? Because I mean, we have stories that, again, I don't want to get into any specific stories,
Right.
but like the indie scene, I feel like could be healthier
Yeah.
if there was less ego, in the sense that everyone needs to understand something. I feel like a lot of places are trying to be Vince and not realizing that they are not on that level, and they try to become so shutting of the quote-unquote forbidden door that they don't realize that when all promotions work together, they're like, okay,
Everybody benefits.
Wrestling is like restaurants, and that's why people always wonder, why does Gordon Ramsay try to fix a restaurant? 7 days in a week. Come to mine on Monday, go to theirs on Tuesday.
Right.
Okay? Every promotion can use everyone's stuff and still survive, but there seems to be, and Joey, okay, Jesse, I don't even know how much you know. I've heard some stories about bar wrestling and the way Joey worked as a promoter.
Well, the problem is I know too much about bar wrestling.
Joey, if you actually go back and find the stories of what he did to promote bar wrestling, he's as bad as people think Vince is.
Right.
Joey
Right.
Joey Ryan was doing things to the wrestlers in bar wrestling when it came to, you can't do this, you can't do that, and a lot of it was in his own self-promotion. That's what I
Right,
hated.
right.
But it's just, speak to your experience. I mean, like, where could the indies be if everybody just took a deep breath and realized, okay, there's 7 days in a week. You go to their show on Tuesday, I'll just run mine on Wednesday.
It could be like the territory system again.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
we could have wrestlers wrestle for a living. We wouldn't have to have like if I could wrestle 5 nights a week, that'd be awesome. Right?
Right. Right.
I mean-
Actually, speaking of, you were talking about your match coming up at MAW. By the way, guys, if you are in the city's area, go. MAW always puts on a great show.
It is actually in northern Minnesota, up on the Canadian border, in Baudette, Minnesota.
Oh, see, I'll be in the cities.
They go everywhere.
There you go.
But yeah,
We will definitely see you at a show at some point, trust me. We do a lot of
Yeah.
wrestling
But,
travel.
but one
we do.
of the
We'll have
things,
to talk to Dave. We'll
Yeah, of
say
course.
when he's going to be
so
on the show.
speaking
Dave.
of him, I think one of the things Dave does incredibly well is try to work with other promotions.
Right.
Because he seems to have a sense after talking to him.
And Eric's done a
of-
good job of that, too, since
Right,
DPW
right,
got around.
but
I mean,
think,
yeah, it's
to
very
me,
open
I think
to it.
Dave
yeah.
does it the best in the sense of understanding. It can really only help me in the long run to find a way to work with a promotion, even if I don't know them, even if I've kind of heard bad things. Talk with them first and go, okay, I've heard you have some interest in what we're trying to do in some of our
And
wrestlers.
that's the part that
Let's
Dave's
talk.
good at. Not to interrupt you, but that's the part that, I'm hoping to have in wrestling. Is like, you don't have to like each other.
Right.
This is business, for crying out loud.
Right.
Just, you are the promoter, that is another promoter. Why does the talent have to have a problem?
Right.
Because you can't sit there and be like, okay, I don't like you personally, but we can both make some goddamn money
Because
here.
here's the thing, that did not end well for WCW.
Well, but that's the thing. Shouldn't they be the blueprint of what not to do? And yet in AEW, they seem to be the blueprint of how to run our show.
They lost $60 million and we're done. Like, that should be a blueprint of, let's try not to do that. When a whole television network went, yeah, we want nothing to do with this anymore. Like, but now let's get into AEW fully.
So anyway, Kenny said what he said.
Right.
Both men are right, but both men are also wrong. And like you said, it's subjective, Arlen. Kenny has an audience. We can't deny that he has an audience.
Right.
But
I actually think Kenny is actually more wrong in this situation.
no. I actually believe that myself because, again, you're yelling at a guy who is still relevant in a sport 40-plus years in, and you are almost 40, and Will Ospreay seems like he's just going to crush
Well,
you.
because here's the worst thing about the Kenny comments is he also tried to make it seem like some of their toxic fans are coming from him. But anytime any of their fans have stepped out of line, he's been the loudest voice of saying, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. Because he's so Jim Cornette is so old school.
Yeah.
They used to believe in beating up fans that took stuff too far.
Yeah.
Like,
I've told
just
people,
because you paid your money don't mean you can't catch an
I've
ass
told my
whooping.
friends who aren't even wrestling fans who are like, I'll just pop the barricade. I'm like, good fucking luck.
Right. Like,
Because here's the deal. You pop the barricade, security also knows the one rule, which is wrestlers get a couple of shots in there before
well,
we have
because
to
here's the
break it
thing.
up.
Back in the day, they would just let the wrestlers, like, go ahead, whoop their ass. Let them learn this lesson.
Yes.
Like, nowadays, yes, they try to let security handle these
Yeah,
things. 'Cause
yeah,
you don't
yeah.
want your wrestlers taking lawsuits or anything
No,
like
yeah,
that.
no.
but
There's a big.
Don't jump the guardrail, guys.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. No, please
now,
don't do that.
like I've one, don't jump the guardrail. Two, only participate in the match if a wrestler approaches you, and then at that point, then understand the situation of which you're being asked to, to participate. But
Yeah.
Number 3, don't touch us, please.
yeah,
That seems to be a weird sort of thing that people need to get away from.
stop
Is
stalking the wrestler. I can't believe
Like-
we have to say this still in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's
yeah,
just-
don't stalk people.
That's just
That's
you guys
not
are human
cool.
beings. Like, don't
Yeah,
do
we're
that
people,
to the
guys.
wrestlers.
well, not to mention the fact. Well, not to mention the fact. Let's just be honest. Sometimes you guys are literally pulling up to the venue, and your match is in 20 minutes.
Yeah,
You literally have to change in the car.
yeah. I've had to go out on 10 minutes notice because I just got there.
I've heard stories from some guys who were just like, 3 guys had to climb into the front seat because I needed the back seat to change because as soon as we parked at the venue, my music hit,
Yep.
and I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, so yeah. Once again, it's just like, there shouldn't be any toxicity in the fans because a lot of the toxicity, whether it's Kenny, whether it's Jim, whether it's whatever. By the way, Kenny, you say as much hateful shit as Jim does. You just walk it back a lot. Sorry, you do. I've listened to a lot of your crap. But here's the thing.
That is- yeah,
when
I
it
agree
comes
with
to the
that.
fans, you paid for the ticket, but despite what John Cena and Vince did to the mid-20s, you're not allowed to do whatever you want just because you're paid
Well,
for the
because
ticket.
let's not
Like-
segue into Tony Khan, because one of the things Kenny has been busting on a lot, and so has Eddie Kingston.
Oh, your
Boy-
favorite.
Boy, you guys must not like your boss this week. Is they've been the loudest anti-WWE guys ever.
And yet Tony's...
By the way, Kenny Omega, which shouldn't have been, because you had Paul Levesque's contract in your hand for 5 days. 5 days. And you still took 2 weeks to decide if you were going to go or not. You didn't, because people forget he didn't even join AEW right away. He took 2 weeks to let
Was
WWE
he at the
know
press
he wasn't
conference?
going to
Because
go.
that might have been the first moment we
That
knew
was
that
the
he
first
was in
moment
it.
he confirmed he
Right,
was in
right,
it.
yeah, exactly. The Bucks were like hinting at it, but
Yeah.
even they didn't know what he was gonna do.
Because WWE told him, no, you're not going to go to NXT. You're coming straight to the main roster. Why would we send you to NXT?
He was teasing him.
Yeah.
See, he thought he was going to work with Triple H directly. Anyway, but so they've been 2 of the loudest anti-WWE guys.
Yeah.
Well, your boss this week
Yeah,
decided to open the biggest forbidden door
yeah.
and go, well, I mean, it's not, we not only have we talked about letting each other's wrestlers kind of talk about each other in these biographies and stuff,
Yeah.
I would actually like to do an event
And by
with
the way,
Vince.
folks, regardless of what Mark said, it's a 3-hour show. There's time constraints. Maybe he said things that Vince doesn't like, but Mark should know that anyway. I don't think Mark Henry's angry that his video wasn't shown during the John
Like
Cena
I
thing.
don't know enough about that situation to even talk about it.
Apparently, people are saying he used words like wrestling and wrestler instead of
Wow.
superstar and entertainer, and it's like,
And well, by the way, we're going to get into Vince because he might not be around too much longer.
no,
But,
no.
but one of the big reasons Nick Khan was hired to do this job was, one, to try to keep Bryan Danielson, which they failed to do.
yeah,
But 2, because Vince, while open-minded, needs to be convinced.
yes,
Paul. So as the rumor goes, Triple H Paul actually talked to Vince 7 years ago about working with Japan.
Right.
Because of course Kota Ibushi and a few other wrestlers.
because Kona
did.
was in the first Cruiserweight.
Right. So
Classic.
Kota and
Yeah,
then a couple of the other guys were in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Cruiserweight
yeah.
Classic. And one of the things Triple H was hoping for was that if Vince watched it, saw how good these wrestlers were, maybe only needed a little refining, but we could still work with New Japan like he did in the past.
Yeah.
Because, of course, he had that working relationship with Antonio Inoki, was to maybe do a Vince with the other side of the world's biggest company.
Yeah.
And he was just never really able to get Vince completely on board with it.
Well, as we've said, Vince, as a businessman, is up in that echelon of a Gates, a Musk, of a who's the richest Rockefeller. In that,
Yes.
folks, these guys.
He was a nice guy, man.
You
Didn't
really have to convince these guys that the money's right. You really have to.
Sure, but with the situation that we'll address later going on with that, that's also not a good thing.
And I agree 100%. We'll get to that. But
Because as I've talked about on this show and in my own podcast, Elon Musk is a piece of crap who will expose himself as a terrible businessman at all times, and he does it every time. But
yep.
He's back out of Twitter now.
Right. We were just talking about that, and we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah.
One of the things that Nick Khan wanted to do as a former TV guy was, if you want to get back to the days of getting the 6 million viewers, you're going to have to be more open-minded about working with other companies.
Yeah.
Because, by the way, the contracts basically pay everything for themselves. The company basically gets, what is it, $3 billion from the two companies for Raw and SmackDown from Fox and USA.
Basically, yeah.
And then, of course,
something like that,
Peacock also pays them for the library now.
And the Saudi money's in there as
Right,
well,
right.
which is very nice.
Yeah.
Getting what is it?
He's getting a lot of money from the Saudis and a lot of money from the cock.
It's $100 million every time they do a show or something.
Basically, people got to understand, Vince is making $200 million off of just the two Saudi
Right.
shows.
200 mil?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
God, do you know how many women he could have for that? You're welcome.
200 divided by 12?
Yeah, that's a lot. Wasn't that $2 million a shot?
Guys, as you can tell, we are clearly teasing what we're going to get into later.
Yeah, we got to get through this AEW though, because they had some stuff.
If I had that much money, I'd be.
Before I'm going
Someone
to
fall off,
stop
man.
Leroy from himself.
All right,
Yes, please do. He actually has a woman.
Right. So Tony Khan has
Yeah.
talked about. Yeah, I've talked to Vince about, and this, like I've reported this rumor for a while.
Yeah.
I've talked to Vince about.
You were reporting it before Tony admitted it.
Right.
Basically,
and this was like 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on some sites where I think there's actual insiders, and I'm not going to give out their names or anything, but
No.
I'm pretty sure those are people that work within these companies. That, hey, let's do an event together.
Yeah.
Because I think Tony, especially with the leaving of Cody Rhodes and all that, understands, well, this is a business.
Yeah.
Like, what is the point of hating this guy who then he admitted was the whole reason he wanted to own a pro wrestling company
And
in the
also,
first place?
if you go back and you watch all of Tony's interviews, once again, doesn't blink one time.
He does not. Coke.
You cannot convince me he's not on cocaine, dude.
Coke. It's a health drug.
It's a hell of a drug.
But anyway, he's never been as anti-WWE about his ratings.
No.
He's only talked about the positivity of his ratings.
And how they're beating them, and quote
The
unquote.
Bucks are the ones who are bringing the anti-WWE stuff in. So in reality, the guy who's ultimately signing the paycheck doesn't hate on the competition.
No.
So
No.
that's that's the part people have to start realizing.
So-
is I think Tony is 100% open for it, but again, you have to convince a guy like Vince, and even if he's not there when it happens,
I will say this.
you got to find a way to convince a lot of people over there.
I don't know. Because, right now we're kind of talking about AEW, and we'll get into Vince here in a little bit. But,
Yeah. Still not a lot there, but
Stephanie
I mean, it's a lot.
Paul and Nick Khan
Probably
are
have
a
no-
lot more open
Yes.
than Big Daddy Vince.
Yes.
So,
Vince also,
Well-
you know,
by the way, I
Here's
got to admit, I didn't mean to drop my
No,
pen
you're
there,
good.
but I did not see that coming from Triple H. Triple H used to be the raw WWE guy in his career because he got screwed over so bad in WCW.
yeah.
So it's amazing to hear him always talk about.
But I'll also say this, and here's a little more dive into Vince's personal life history. Those three are not jaded by their father as much as Vince was. People got to realize a lot of Vince's closed-offedness came from the fact that he was never close with his dad. his
His dad wasn't there.
Well, yeah, that. But his dad
When he
was
was growing
also
up.
very old school. Made him buy the company. I'm not saying Vince wanted it 100% just handed to him, but Vince, people got to realize Vince.
I'm sure part of
He
him
bought
did,
it
though.
from his dad.
Well, but his dad made him. That's
Yeah,
that's the thing. So Paul, Stephanie, and Nick probably don't have that jadedness towards the business
Well,
that
Nick
Vince
damn
did
sure
when he got there.
doesn't.
Well, yeah, exactly, because Nick's not from the business.
Right.
So Vince ultimately, in my opinion, did a lot of the things that his
Don't put it in
dad
that
said
one.
no to because he was trying to get back at his dad and the other promoters for what they did to him when he was younger. I'm not saying he's right for it. I'm just saying that's part of his history.
Yeah.
Whereas, like I said, Paul, Stephanie, Nick, they don't have the jadedness towards other
Right.
companies because
Right.
I'll be honest, I don't think they've met Tony Khan a day in their life.
That's not true.
Stephanie and Paul?
Paul has.
Okay.
So before AEW started, there's a lot of old circulating videos of Tony Khan with a ton of WWE wrestlers, former and current,
Yeah.
from
Yeah, 'cause
any
he
time
was
they've
just
been
a
to
fan.
Jacksonville.
He was
Yeah, 'cause
well,
that's when he was just
well,
Oh, yeah, he's a
well,
fan,
he was a
yeah.
fan, and how many times did WWE go through Jacksonville,
right.
basically?
And then
Yeah.
also like having the superstars in the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Think about that. Think about that.
stuff
You're a
and-
billionaire, one of the richest men in the world, and sadly, you have to spend all of your time in Jacksonville, Florida.
Well, it's
Of all the
sunny.
places that you could
I was
spend
going
time.
to say, being in Florida besides for 2 days seems depressing.
Well, it's warm out. About it.
Mosquitoes, alligators, pythons the size of you. No, I'm good.
Sounds like here. But with snakes.
Here, but with non-poisonous snakes.
And
Yeah.
and cold.
Lots
I was
of
about
cold.
to say you don't usually get too many of the same things animals wise because it's cold 7 months out of the year around here.
Yeah,
I'll never go to a zoo.
yeah. The animals went south.
Oh, we got the bears.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, but they just sleep and shit.
Basically.
You know-
They eat garbage.
They
well,
then
then they
eat
shit
garbage,
more.
Yeah. yeah.
They actually might be pro wrestling fans when you kind of put it all together. They eat
They used
garbage.
to be
They
pro
sleep and
wrestlers.
shit.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Bears love it.
They love it.
Well, they're certainly not fans of the football team.
Who would want to be?
Exactly.
There you go.
Minnesota got the right GM. That's all I got to say.
Only you guys torture yourselves with the Vikings. I'm a Jet fan. All I know is pain. So, all I know is pain.
Well, that's true.
You're the
So Dynamite this week
yeah.
was a mixed bag,
979 was the rating. Little down,
it went down, yeah.
but not by much.
but not by much.
percentage,
Not by
yeah,
much.
just
Yeah,
a
there's
simple
a slight
percentage
percentage
there.
point. However,
You
Two
had a
things that
happy
came-
thing happen. I saw
oh yeah,
a title change.
oh yeah, Scorpio Sky no longer will be on your TV as much. Although he probably will be now that we think about it.
So I talked about this last week. I did learn he's also going through some injuries. But thank goodness, sometimes.
Did he? How bad was it? Was it a
Some-
good match? Did he kill him pretty good?
Well, he did power.
Wardlow.
Actually, he only power bombed him twice because of his injuries.
Yeah,
Oh, only twice.
Only twice.
only twice.
Damn it!
Jesse could have watched the whole 2-hour show if it was just power.
Let
bomb,
me be
power
clear.
bomb.
I'd never like to see a wrestler get injured.
No,
Ever.
no,
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
no.
But as I've mentioned sometimes with pro football, pro basketball, pro baseball, pro soccer, sometimes people just need to go away for a while. Here's
Yeah.
why. I could not share skin color with that man anymore because it seemed like he had no more pride as a performer anymore. So you were just willing to shell out. And by the way, put Kobe Bryant into all your terrible storylines. Like Kobe Bryant would be proud of you being a mediocre champion. Kobe Bryant was one of the greatest champions of all time. And you want to mention Kobe Bryant in the same breath of a title reign where you lost the title 3 times to Sammy Guevara with Ty Conti involved, who apparently has unhumbled herself. By the way, guys, don't be kind of trying to take dirty like booty shots and then selling them online. Stop being weird, wrestling
Yeah, no,
fans.
Weird.
no,
Don't be
seriously.
weird,
Like, okay,
guys.
okay.
That's horrible.
We get it, sex sells, but you don't have to be creepy.
Well, you know what? He probably was going home with those.
Me calling Nikita Lyons, Sticky James, and all, it's all in good fun.
It is. It
And
is.
the only reason I
like
do
that,
it on the show is because I also did.
As we stare at the photo.
right, yeah.
We
That's
did-
beautiful.
We did purchase that
That-
from her, so it's not
I
like she
did purchase that, and she signed it.
Natalia
Okay.
Markova, who's great. That's Natalia
Natalia.
Markova.
And she had the belts on there. That's
Yeah.
beautiful young lady.
Awesome.
Yeah.
An awesome pro wrestler.
Nice thickness too. Yeah.
Not going to talk about that one too much because that husband definitely could kill me. But but what I don't do is take disrespectful photos of the female wrestlers when I'm at a show.
No.
Because they're people and they're sisters
You
and
paid
their
to
mothers
get- you
and their
paid to
daughters.
get in. You paid to get in, but you're a guest.
Right.
Treat it like you're at someone else's house. Like please.
Yeah.
Like,
That's all
it's
I'm asking.
2022, and then some of the stuff Rhea has had to hear recently, like, guys, let's grow up,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
But outside of that, thank God the title reign's over. It was trash. Now, my hope is...
You didn't like Dan Lambert promoting it every single week?
I did.
All right, well, there you
well,
go.
you
Dan
know,
Lambert's good.
I guess
Yeah.
somebody has to.
Dan was the fun part of the title reign.
I like Arlen now because he's the positive to my negative.
You know what?
Buddy.
You know what? All I have to say about this title change, you know what I'm scared about,
What's that?
is that somebody's going to try to get a fourth reign as a TNA champion.
Oh, Sammy Guevara, I doubt it's going to happen.
I'm hoping they
Sammy
don't do
Guevara-
that.
no, no,
Warley would
no,
eat
no,
him
no,
and
no.
shit him out.
Leroy,
Go ahead.
Leroy. He can't go for the title.
Yes, he
because
can.
no, hold on,
Why not?
hold on, Jesse. Sammy can't go for the title because
Yes.
somebody has to take the death-defying 87,000 more bumps that the Kingston Jericho feud is going to have for the next 47 years of wrestling.
I forgot that.
Because it will not end.
until someone dies.
I guess since we're moving on to
We're
this.
moving on to this.
So my question to you, as a wrestler yourself, as a performer, what's the longest feud you think you've had?
Oh. I wrestled Nikki Valentine
Mhm.
like every day for a year.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
That's obviously an exaggeration, but
Right, yeah.
every match I had for like a year involved him in some capacity.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, like for you guys there, though, once again, like I've always talked about with the Bucks' version of their style, is that they're always going to be indie. Is that for you? You were wrestling different town, different night. So I mean, you were, quote unquote, you might have had the same match, but it was a different audience. And that's always been my
criticism. Lot of spot shows.
Right. And that's always been my criticism of the Bucks is like, okay, you now have consistent television. Stop having the same match every week.
No.
Yeah.
That's not the issue with the Eddie Kingston Chris Jericho thing.
No, it's not.
You
It's
see,
not progressing.
AEW is on national television.
Yes.
They can actually get 1 million viewers. Now, you guys, while the
Sometimes.
match might end up on YouTube, unless you guys do a crazy spot and it goes viral, it's going to be hard for you to probably reach 1.5 million in one day of viewing. Just being honest.
Exploding barbed wire death match.
Well, that'll do it.
Let's run it back because last
Come
time
on,
it worked
guys.
out so well.
I
Time with
know.
More fireworks.
More fireworks?
Yep.
Oh, God, that
Can
might
we
be
actually
bad.
get Gilbert though this time? I'm sure he could use the paycheck for a night. Can we actually get Gil?
Gilbert?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we've talked
It's
about on
his-
the show,
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I think it's his birthday
I
today.
love.
It was like a couple days ago, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a couple days ago.
I loved Eddie Kingston because I'm from the same area.
Yeah.
I'm from around the same area in New York.
Okay.
So Eddie Kingston to guys like us is a hero.
And he's not playing a character. That man is
It's
Brooklyn
he,
all
He kind of
day. Yeah.
is who he is, right?
Yeah.
And it's
No,
the reason why he's always had fans in New York.
It's his birthday today.
Oh, it's today. Well, happy birthday,
damn.
Gilbert,
Happy
he's 63.
birthday,
Fantastic.
Gilbert.
He's 63.
Yeah.
63 years old.
That means he's older than actual Goldberg.
Yeah.
He
And he
Sting's
looks-
age.
But if you
Yeah.
ask Jesse,
He looks just as
but if you
bad
ask
or
Jesse
worse.
Gilbert, but if you ask Jesse Gilbert was the better wrestler than Goldberg.
Gilbert is a better wrestler than Bill Goldberg. Let's not let me go off on that tangent.
We don't have time.
We don't have time.
Arlen actually has a life. And Leroy has a concert to get to.
That's true. So,
You're fine. Relax.
I'd just say lock it up. I'll go.
That's fair. That's
But-
fair.
so
We have locked up your house before.
here's the thing. At some point there has to be a blow off. Now we all thought the blow off match
Was it blood and guts?
was blood and guts.
But as I
Right.
said last week, they turned it into an angle for two other wrestlers. So Eddie is now, for some strange reason, still involved with Chris, but they planted the Claudio seed. Like, you did two things in one night and you accomplished nothing. Because, like, again, I don't have a problem with a feud continuing. That's never been the issue. But if you have a blow-off, ladies and gentlemen, as Jesse said last week, Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar are going to fucking kill each other.
But this is the last match.
But this will be the last time that you see those two
Right.
for probably 4 or 5 years if
Right.
Brock even wants to do this in 4 or 5 years, or if
Right.
Roman's here in 4 or 5 years.
Right.
But that's the blow-off.
Right.
They had blood and guts,
Better
war games. There you go.
Well, they have announced that it is because Brock was not his original opponent.
No. That
It
was
supposed
Randy.
to be Randy.
That was supposed to be
Yeah.
Randy, but Randy's out. But anyway, no. So the blow-off match, which again, I said, War Games used to be Dusty faced whoever. It was the Horseman, and he faced, I think it was the Russians one time he was in
Right.
there. But anyway,
Yeah.
it was a blow-off.
Right.
The Undisputed Era was in the first 3 War Games in NXT?
I believe so.
First
Yes,
3? Okay.
yes.
They were done with the feud when it was over.
Right.
Everybody went on. Well, no.
Right.
Not everybody. Bobby Fish was hurt after all 3. But anyway, I
That's
love
true,
you, Bobby,
that's
but
true.
you are a brittle human being. You really, really are.
You know, once again, bump card. You know, like
Yep.
now he's at an age where any small, even a small bump could lead to an injury for him now. So.
Yeah, but anyway, but then the Undisputed Era moved on. Adam and the
Right.
boys had another plan.
Right.
Dusty went on to, I think, didn't he get a title run after one of the War Games?
I believe he did.
I
Yeah.
believe so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So that was one of the few times
It
he
was
actually
the
won.
third one, wasn't it? Because they finally had him beat Flair or something like that.
It was somewhere around that. Yeah.
Yeah, something like
Because
that.
because
Yeah.
because if I remember correctly, War Games was to get rid of the Horseman, and then he
Right,
kind of
right,
one-on-one.
something
like
Yeah,
that,
anyway,
yeah.
but it's like what you did was you set up a Claudio feud for when the Jericho thing is over. Which, if this is not the last match, what else can we do? Exploding barbed wire? What else can we do?
That's gotta be it. All out.
Thank you. What else can we do?
Exploding Mounties.
Exploding mountain.
Yeah.
Nick,
Mimosa Mayhem.
Mimosa
that happened.
Mayhem.
That happened, folks. Tony,
Boy, was I right and wrong when it came to that. Because at first I'm like, you know what? They're going to actually
Wait a
give my
minute.
man a push.
Wait a
They're
minute.
gonna
Wait a
give my
minute.
man a push.
Wait a minute. I have for Jericho. It'd be the COVID catastrophe.
No, because he's already done that 4 times. He's done that 4
Well, I'm
times
trying.
already.
He's the COVID
can we
god.
stop reminding Jesse that one of his favorite guitarists is being wasted in a butt rock band?
They are a butt rock band, but and it's not a
Yeah,
good one
man.
either. Once again, music is subjective.
He has to have that caveat in there.
Yes.
I just don't know why, and that's a lot of AEW sometimes for me. Is there'll be sometimes a feud is good.
Also, why do you? I'm sorry to interrupt. I've been holding this in all day. Why do you give Ruby Soho 2 weeks of TV just to write her off? And by the way, Ruby, I love you. I literally on this show mapped out how you should have done your career. I did, okay? How you should have done this with the jacket. I mapped that out. But here's the deal. Girl, could you have made it more obvious that you were leading Ty Conti in this video package? Could you have made it more obvious that Ty had no clue what she was doing?
I've always said in WWE, sometimes it sucks to sit in catering for 5 months. I get it, but just because you're sitting in catering for 5 months does not mean they won't come up with something for you. And if you take the ball and run with it enough, where, yeah, you might hate the idea, but you know you don't have enough kind of clout with the writers or, well, with the main guys. You run with it enough, you never know where it'll take you,
You put
right?
your
Right.
own hand in the door.
Right.
The closest person to you was a male, and sorry, Tony, once again, you ain't going to have intergender matches because
Right.
you can't on network
Right.
television. That's not Vince's
Like,
call.
remember, Bobby Lashley came back.
Yeah.
Didn't become champion for 4 years. This is his 5th year after his return.
Yes.
I believe it's his 5th year.
Yeah.
And
think so.
now it's finally the main eventer we thought he was going to
Right.
be coming
But
back.
my point is this: is like Ruby. First of all, the closest person to you was literally leaning up against the car, watching this.
But the
and you were
reason-
waving Ty Conti to, yeah, my hand's finally in the right spot. Throw the door. Like, Arlen, I know I am not in the business like you are. I'm not trying to be that guy. But you can see that from a mile away that,
pretty
like, that's
bad.
something they probably tell you you can hide this
And
better.
because they don't have a buck-toothed bitch running their cameras, there's no cut.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Arlen.
He loves the buck-toothed beaver behind the camera. He really does.
I hope he gets fired.
He hopes Kevin did.
I hope
Kinda looks
after
like
he gets
Seinfeld.
fired that beavers eat his skin. I cannot stand Kevin
Wow.
Dunn.
If
You know-
Kevin
Go
Dunn
ahead.
actually gets prison time, ladies and gentlemen, Jesse will give a glorious speech to open our show.
It will be like you're at a
Have
sermon.
you on?
Prison.
Yeah.
Great.
He's gonna meet the tossed salad man. He's gonna be in prison. He's all right.
It's gonna be a good time.
Not with them buck teeth.
Well, no. He ain't gonna be chewing on
I'm
it.
sorry.
What are
I'm
you
sorry.
talking about at this
I was
point?
gonna say
Yeah,
something
I
terrible.
haven't even seen it,
Okay.
so I can't really make a.
Basically, basically.
So what happened
Yeah,
was
go
when
ahead.
she had her arm inside this truck door, because the whole spot was supposed to be that Ty was going to slam the door on the arm to take her out. The problem is when you don't, and this is some, like I said, it's one of the few times I'll give that idiot his due, is that Kevin would have cut away just to keep the shot on Jericho until they were ready to set up the spot. Okay, so he's showing him the
You go
spot
ahead and
now.
talk, and we'll just have him walk.
And-
this goes from.
And instead of just waiting for someone to maybe come pick her up or whatever to sell the spot, you can literally watch the spot. She's literally telling Ty Conti, "Go ahead and do it. I'm ready."
Yeah.
But the camera's still pointed on you, which means we can all see this. We're not supposed to see the spot until it happens. Like, it's so what Zach is kind of getting at is, and what I was getting at earlier is, are you sure sitting in catering for another couple of months wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world?
Yeah. Rumor is, what's gonna happen?
He's
Rumor
shaking
has
his head like, yeah, you guys are kind of
Yeah, that's not how I would have done that.
okay.
verbal. I mean,
And I'm not trying to question somebody's work, Arlen, but
Yeah,
but-
I'm not questioning anything they did, but that should have been shot differently.
Right.
Okay, so so you're not blaming the talent, you're blaming the way
Production.
that someone produced it.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
which
it's-
is fair.
it's
Which
on
by
production, like,
which by the
they-
way, sadly, is talent because we all know it's Tony Khan. But anyway,
Yeah.
It's those things in AEW because they started as this whole anti-WWE thing, and that's fine. Be the rebels, that's fine. By the way, that didn't work out for TNA because then they started hiring guys like Hulk Hogan, and now TNA, I believe, and Impact are in a great spot. They're not on a great spot TV-wise, which is a damn shame. Luckily for AEW, Turner doesn't pay shit for this product compared to what WWE gets paid for Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
So, of course, and I don't want them to fail, but, of course, they're not going to fail. They're going nowhere. But, damn, man, you couldn't have told the camera dude, hey, cut away because we could clearly see her. Like, just go back to Jericho.
Now,
Right.
it's really interesting because maybe this is the same thing. Maybe it's not, Arlen. You can get the comparison. My mom so my dad, first of all, is one of the biggest Bond fans you'll ever see. James Bond. My dad is obsessed with James Bond.
Got it.
My mom loved the older movies, but didn't like it when Daniel Craig came in, and here's why: the killing, the explosions, and the beatings happened off camera. It's the Jaws idea. The movie would not have been as legendary if the shark had worked because they wanted more shots with the giant animatronic shark.
Yeah.
But when you leave people to the imagination, how much do you guys focus on trying to make the crowd think about it more than see it? Because I feel like modern
kinda
indie
like-
wrestling has a problem in keeping people because everyone's looking for the next spot instead of, okay, I'm going to do something because, okay, Pete Dunne's the master of the finger thing.
Sure.
You feel your finger twitch when Pete Dunne has a match.
Yeah. Yeah.
oh my god.
So you remember Pete Dunne. Actually, the best example would be our boy Gunter when he slaps somebody. You're like, I felt that.
Yeah. Some people are just really good at making you cringe.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, I mean, do you guys focus more on an idea of, okay, show them the hand or try to make them look in the other hand and then make them think about the left hand? If that makes, I mean, I can rephrase that if you need.
So, if you can set up a move,
Yeah.
like a something that you're gonna do later in the match, earlier on in the match,
Right.
then that I feel is usually what most people want to do.
Right.
Okay.
That way you can get the most out of that spot. You can get
Right.
you can build up to it and get the crowd invested in it,
Mm-hmm.
and then come back to it, and then finally get the payoff.
Right. But you're describing something that involves, like you said, possibly working for 10 to 15 minutes to get to
Yep.
one point. Whereas I feel like, and this is ultimately what comes down to my problem in AEW. You guys are showing me the behind the scenes a little too much. Like I mean, I know it. The veil's been removed. This is the world we live in.
Right.
But guys, I mean, you give Vince crap for trying to make the wrestlers, at least when the camera's on, believe what they're doing. But like I said, the whole Maxim male model thing, as dumb as you think it is, folks, LA Knight doesn't make you laugh, doesn't make you think that he doesn't want to do it.
Right.
LA Knight is selling this shit for the 20 minutes they give him
Here's
on
the
SmackDown.
problem with it
He's
this
great.
week, though.
And have you put your application in yet?
First of all, absolutely not. Even if I was good looking, absolutely not. I've never trusted
Damn
Eli
it,
Drake as a character. Hell no.
That's
I want to put in to see what I get for
That guy
response.
betrays people more than Randy Orton does.
that's saying something.
But
Oh, that's true.
big thing about that, you're in Texas. If you don't do that right, and they did not, and we're going to get into SmackDown a little bit later, you get boring chance, which is what they got this Friday.
Yes, they did.
So hopefully they learned a lesson, because that was the cringiest thing of the night to me. But yeah, as far as
Ruby.
this Ruby thing, I remember going to see her in Jersey. So for those who don't know, she used to be a part of the New York hardcore scene in pro wrestling. And Lucy Lovelace, something
Yes.
like that.
Yeah.
Heidi
And-
Lovelace.
Thank you, Heidi. Lucy Lovelace actually might be the porno star. Don't look it up.
Yeah.
Leroy phone down.
That's Lucy
think
Lawless. Yeah.
Thank you.
Lucy,
Thank you.
yeah, they're
There is a Lovelace who was a porn star, but I can't remember.
yeah,
That's a,
that's
that's
right.
a whole other podcast.
That'll be my personal one.
Yeah.
I could talk about that.
We can. It's an adult
Unfortunately, I
program.
probably could too.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, so and I remember when she originally got signed to WWE, I went, "This is her time." And then when I was told it was going to be NXT, I'm like, perfect, because Paul will get to show, Vince what she can be capable of. I always thought she just needed a little bit of fine tuning, but I'm like, she's one of the best women's wrestlers just one of the best wrestlers on the planet in her prime.
Right.
And in NXT, it was half and half. Unfortunately, she kind of fell into a couple of knee injuries, which just stinks.
I also think that one of these days, Jesse, you and I, we're going to take a day or two off, and we're just going to watch a lot of old school NXT, and we're only going to focus on the women because she also got roped into. The Four Horsewomen were still kind of running that show down there.
Unfortunately, they weren't completely called up yet, and then when they were, they then started to focus on Asuka.
Folks,
and
Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa were not the best baseball players of their era, but you think that because they were hitting a bunch of home runs.
Well, steroids is a lot of good stuff for people.
That's fair.
It shrinks a lot of other things, but it does a lot of other good things.
Yep.
But it also can be healthy for other reasons, but we're not going to get into that.
We're a health
But
podcast also, by the way.
I used to think, because one of her first feuds when they called her up was Charlotte. And then they
Right.
did try to keep her in the women's title picture. And, of course, she had – apparently the rumor is the falling out was with that idiot Bruce Pritchard. God, that guy's an idiot. I get it. I do get it, Leroy. I do.
Yeah.
But he's made some of the worst booking decisions
No, that's
in the
all right.
last 17 years. And it bugs me that people still think that everything he did in the 90s overshadows everything when he came back and was kissing ass again. By the way, after talking major shit when he went to TNA. Anyway.
Yeah, I came back again.
They had to
Yeah,
hire Cornette just to
Yeah.
fire the guy. That's how bad Bruce was.
So
By the way, it was the happiest time I've ever been happy to see Jim Cornette. It was when he showed up on TNA to fire him and to get ready to try to fire Hulk Hogan. I was like, oh, please do. This will be great for all of pro wrestling.
see, here's a fun thing about Ruby Soho. The rumor is there's 3 people that are going to come and are going to be featured in AEW and ROH. What the hell does that do for Ruby?
Nothing.
Buries her
Not a
even,
damn thing.
buries her even more.
Not a damn thing.
What did I say the first moment on this show when she finally got the first feud with Britt Baker? What did I say? I was like, she's going to be right back in catering. It's just a different company now. She's going to be underutilized yet again. And I want people to remember this because I said it when she was let go. I said, unless she stays on the indie scene, this is a sad day. Because
well,
here,
remember-
let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I would have rathered her along with, look who's the SmackDown Women's Champion now, Liv Morgan and Sarah. Hey, we'll stick around. Maybe you'll come up with plans for us. We'll just kind of keep working the circuit, whatever. Because WWE will pay you well even if you're just sitting in catering. But at least you would have eventually gotten your shot.
Yeah.
Especially now with all the injuries, the 4 horsewomen are getting older. Some clearly don't need to be back in the company.
More than one, actually. We're going to be very, very clear about that. We actually have an opinion on more than one of that.
Right.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, you would have gotten your shot. You really will. It's a stupid waiting game, but that's pro wrestling.
I also said to myself, okay, you clearly got the okay from Rancid to do their song.
Right.
So Rancid, and by the way, they're big wrestling fans, so I mean, they would have helped her out no matter where she went.
Right.
Although Tony is paying them a nice check for that song. But basically, she could have taken the jacket,
Right.
Destination, and like I said, thrown some Velcro on there, and then, okay, if she had an indie gimmick, Arlen, my plan was, if I was the management, okay, wherever you are tonight, we just make a new graphic.
Right.
And then the next night, you rip off the graphic, you stick another one on there.
Right.
It's Velcro. It's cheap.
Right.
And like she could have come out to whatever size venue she was in, turn around, the jacket would have had the state or the name of the
Right.
town on it, and they would have popped.
Right.
And by the way, we're not talking about her in-ring because that
speaks for itself.
that was going to sell itself.
Right.
I didn't have
Oh,
to
yeah.
sell a promoter on that.
Right.
But like you're a small town promoter. You're like your town gets to see that. First of all, there's one thing about wrestling fans. We are notorious for popping when our name comes out, regardless of who says it. Doesn't matter if it's heel or face.
Right.
We will yell for our own name.
Right.
But Nick Foley made a living off it. Cheap pops. He's the master of it. I love you, Mick.
Hall of Fame career.
Exactly. But just that was my plan for her, and to me, that was the best use of her because it also led into. Well, you're the outlaw. That's like been your whole gimmick from the get-go.
Right.
The punk rock mentality, which by the way, Rancid are the fucking
Oh, yeah.
fathers of almost.
Oh, yeah.
It's literally you went to work for another corporate machine that sadly, Ruby, and again, I don't feel this way, but the majority of the marketing research does. Britt Baker
Yeah.
looks better than you on camera. That's just what the market research says. That's not a shot at Ruby.
Right.
Ruby's
Right.
my kind of girl. You've met mine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
but again, stop going the corporate ladder route when that's what you hated from the last place.
Right.
Because regardless of what Tony Khan tries to explain to us, you have the same television constraints that Stephanie, Paul, and Nick have to deal with right now.
Right.
You have the same thing.
Right.
You are on network television. And it might be worse because you don't have the 30, 40-year cachet that the WWE has.
Right.
There's something to be said for lasting 40 years on television.
That's
like,
true.
I know everyone laughs when okay, I've had some friends recently, they were talking about long-running television shows. Gunsmoke, great show. We
Yep.
loved it.
Simpsons.
Seinfeld, Simpsons. They're like, these are the longest-running shows. I'm like, no, it ain't. WWE's got number
Raw.
one and two. Well, that doesn't count. Why doesn't it count? It's been on television episodically longer than them.
Actually, Simpson actually does have more episodes, so
No,
that
it-
should be number
no,
one.
it doesn't.
It doesn't?
Ooh, Raw.
Do that research real quick.
Raw's in like the 1700s.
What about like Days of Our Lives?
Days of Our Lives. But okay.
Because they're on season 57.
Right.
True, but Days of Our Lives, remember, is like most shows where they have a season, they film a number of shows,
Oh,
then everybody
yeah,
goes home.
right.
The reason why this episodic television show surpassed everybody is he literally said, I'm going to do this every week. Lucha Underground was a great idea, I think, but it was never going to produce what Vince produced money-wise.
Right.
It was
Right.
always going to be something where it's like, I got to get 40 weeks out of you guys.
Well, the problem
Yeah.
was with Lucha Underground was they were also basing off the original concept for Nitro going live on Monday,
Yeah.
which of course was like, well, we have this Atlanta arena every week, every Monday to do Nitro live. Like it's not. And then if we want to go out of town with it, we can, because then it sells itself because it's already on national television. every
Exactly,
week.
yeah.
But the problem was, is it's very hard to go live in Mexico like that all the time. / also San Antonio, and get people to watch, especially when you're planning on doing your tapings, which was like 2 p.m.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a hard
But,
sell.
but that's my thing about Ruby was just, I'm not saying Ruby has to take my plan, but like that to me fit you better, especially to show yourself off to everybody. Like I said, if you hate the corporate life, why'd you go to the other place? Because at the end of the day, you took the money, which I'm not against.
Yep.
Wrestlers, pro athletes, which they all are the same thing. But like, I'm not mad that Damian Lillard took $120 million from the Trailblazers. You ain't gonna win nothing, but you just made $60 million.
it was 120 million. I think altogether it's like 275.
No, it's $120 million two-year extension.
Oh, yeah,
he signed a
it's-
2-year extension, $120 million.
But all together it's like 275.
Right. But my point is, you want to sign that kind of money, bro, I ain't mad.
Right.
Like someone's handing you a guaranteed 60 mil in the next year.
Right.
Like, take your money.
Right.
But then just be honest. That's why you did it.
Right.
Ruby, I love you. I do. But please be honest that you needed a bigger payday. You felt like you deserved it, and you got it. And I'm happy for you. But it's like I said with Tony Storm. Where's the difference in booking other than WWE was going to make you, whether it was a long-term champion or a short-term interim champion, Tony Storm was
She was going to beat Charlotte.
Charlotte's wedding was planned.
Right.
She pushed the wedding back because Tony went home.
Right.
They had to change the plans on the fly.
Right. And listen, I get it. Your mental health is incredibly important.
Yes.
But you also threw out there they didn't see you as a top person, but you were going to be the SmackDown Women's Champion on their number one show, which is SmackDown.
If we go more of a current thing, if you got to work with, let's go with the man himself, Mitch Paradise, for like 6 straight weeks,
Sure.
you'd sit there and say, this is the biggest thing I've done locally in a period, because Mitch has been around this area for 25
Long
years.
time.
Yeah, probably.
Long
Yeah,
time.
yeah, that's accurate.
Whether you beat Mitch or not has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
No,
but
it's
you're
all about
working.
learning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Get in there and get with him, and
She had Charlotte for 6 weeks at this
Yeah.
point. And then and by the way, she was in a triple threat with Charlotte and Sasha at the time in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And then she just went home.
Yeah.
So, like, again, I said on the show right after, I'm all for taking care of your mental health. It needs to be done more these days, especially in sports.
Right.
I've had to take breaks from my mental
Exactly.
health.
Right.
But here's the deal. Once you've come back from that, don't sit there and act like you're in a better situation when you're not. Part of your being better with your mental health, because we've all been there, and I've had to do it recently myself.
Right.
You have to admit when you're wrong.
Right.
And Tony Storm is wrong to say she's in a better place. Maybe you're getting paid more because Tony, for anyone who's former WWE, Max said it, will shell out 7 figures like it's no one's business.
Before Max said it, I said it.
The whole world knew it. The whole world knew it. Okay, name one guy that he got just off WWE television who didn't get 7 figures. Name one guy. Nobody.
I'm like thinking about it.
They all got 7.
I think they all. Yeah.
Malachi Black was getting paid more than okay, so Malachi Black was on the list of 6 wrestlers who were getting paid more than MJF. It was probably more, but the 6 reported. One was like, John Moxley, obviously. John's like on a $3 million a year deal.
Yeah,
But
Well,
John brings
that I'm
yeah.
about to say.
But John, clearly Punk seems to be the biggest contention, because every report, whether it's Cody, Max, they all want Punk money. So he's making a killing right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about it. The 6 guys arguably were.
well, what's
Cody,
funny?
Punk, or not Cody, Moxley, Punk,
Jericho, yes. Jericho's still one of the
Brian.
highest paid guys.
The funny
Daniel
one
Bryan,
about
Bryan
one
Danielson.
about CM Punk though was he was going to get paid the same. So apparently he's making 8,
Okay.
but that's still lower than what WWE offered him. Yeah, people don't know that he was offered 10 to come back. So before the big hullabaloo that he signed with AEW and all that, the report was out there.
He was talking to Vince.
He had 3 meetings with Vince and Paul. Paul has smoothed everything over. Was like, okay, we're gonna find a number that you like, and you'll just do a part-time schedule and make it work.
My biggest problem with that was that he clearly wanted a run.
Yeah,
But the problem is that WWE, unlike AEW, this is the only reason why he went to AEW is for the run, and here's why. And I'm not faulting the guy. I mean, it's $8 million. Take the $8 million.
You don't
But
know where you wanted.
well, yeah, exactly. But here's the deal. WWE was going to use you as a quote-unquote legend guy because you'd been gone for so long, their television had moved on.
right.
The AEW television, because of the way A, it's written, and B, the infancy of it, you can throw anything you want in it.
Well, the thought though that he wouldn't have got a title run coming back. Is insane.
No. He would have, but how much would he done what he wanted to do? That's my whole thing.
Probably for $10 million.
Tony Khan, there are 3 guys in AEW that Tony Khan says nothing to about creative.
Yeah.
John Moxley, CM Punk, and Bryan Danielson.
Right.
Punk and Danielson because they'll walk out the door. Moxley because Moxley does everything he wants to do and Tony's okay with it. Tony's just given the green light.
Well, let me once again be clear to anyone who doesn't understand why Bryan Danielson's in AEW. It's because they already had something in place in New Japan. That's literally it.
Yes.
That's otherwise he had already said I wasn't gonna leave.
No.
But because Nick Khan was taking so long with
The
the
scary
deal,
part is for me, and again, I am not. I refuse to ever put injuries unless proven on any promoter or anyone else.
Right.
Would he be this bad that it's being reported if Vince had him right now?
The injury, I don't think so.
Because that concussion is apparently a lot worse
Yeah.
than people thought originally. Because again, it was first reported he's hurt. 2 weeks, no big deal. He'll be back for
So
blood and
it's a-
guts.
it's a
Then
great-
all of a sudden, it's like I'm out for blood and guts. I'm out for Forbidden. Because like Forbidden Door was on the table
Right.
until he cut that promo.
So it's a grade 2 concussion.
Yeah.
And because of all his concussion issues, they're already writing him off for a year.
Claudio, Tony said this during the media scrum. Claudio was moved up, which by the way, is funny to me because he said two things in that interview. One, I had Claudio for a couple of months before Forbidden Door. Okay, what?
Right.
What?
Right.
Number two, I moved him up because of Brian's injury, which is why I'm scared for Claudio because as much as I love Claudio, what happens when Brian is eventually healthy? You're the fourth most popular guy in that group that's an active wrestler. Fifth if you count William Regal.
Here, I'll tell you.
Because nobody hates William Regal.
I'll tell you. You ready? It's back to the mid card. That's where he goes. By the way, he's still making less than what WWE was offering him to come back.
Arlen, I'm not saying take the most money. Be happy with your job because especially with what you guys are doing, you have to enjoy this.
You have
gotta live. You
You
gotta
gotta
be able to
you
eat.
gotta right.
But I mean, is there something to be said for taking less money? Is it always about the better environment? Is that why you take less money? Or sometimes do you take the less money because you just don't want to work somewhere? You just take what you can get.
Yeah, so it depends on the person.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather be somewhere where I'm happy and where
Okay, yeah.
people want me around. And,
Right.
And I also happen to get paid well.
Which by the way, all reports, the AEW locker room, they're very happy.
Right.
And that's good.
Yeah.
For now. Let's be clear. They're all happy for now.
With Brian being
We're right.
it's odd to me. With Brian being out, that might be the best thing for them right now because they're in that transitional period where a lot of contracts are coming up from the original signing class.
Yeah.
With Brian being out, you got to fill roles, which means I don't care who you are. If Brian's here, take him out, put Claudio there. It's a domino effect. Now that Claudio's up, we have to move somebody else up. So somebody else. This is how wrestling cards work. This is how wrestling companies work. Someone goes up, someone's got to fill the next slot up. There's always next man up, no matter how low on the card you go.
You ever shifting sands of wrestling.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But like my whole thing about it is that they are in a weird place. But Brian might have helped the overall locker room because now everybody's looked at more because Tony's got to fill a role.
Before we go to the next thing,
Yeah. No, go ahead.
excuse me, on Dynamite's card, let me be very clear about what AEW is looking at right now. Let's just be honest. What happens, say, Darby stays healthy, because his contract comes up next year. He doesn't resign like Cody didn't. Does a handshake deal so they can finish the feuds, whatever.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that guy shows up at the Rumble. Now you've lost two key components from your company starting.
okay, that's-
I'm not done.
I was agreeing with you on
Britt
that. Yeah.
Baker.
Yeah.
She comes up next year. The whole reason Adam Cole went to AEW. Because, like I said, the fact, if it was about the haircut, your hair grows back, buddy.
Yeah.
You would have been world champion.
I've had my head shaved.
Right.
Yes.
Your hair grows back. You're not 9,000 years old like Leroy, where if he shaves, it may not grow back.
Oh, no, it grows back. It just takes longer.
See, exactly. And it would be super gray.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry.
Looking like Santa Claus.
I
Fuck
told
you.
I wouldn't do this to
Fuck
you, and
you.
I've done it 2 weeks in a row.
This is the only thing I got right here. Kiss my ass. I look better at 9,000 than you would at whatever you are.
Yeah, well, that's only half true.
No.
Because I don't take my pants off during the show. But,
I'm sorry for these two. I really am. I apologize for them.
I
all
have children in my house. You're not taking your pants off.
well, no, but if they weren't here.
That's
I still don't want you to take your pants off.
Anyway, boys.
But yeah, so you got.
I'm
those
the only
two
one that
coming
can
up.
take their pants off
You
here.
got. I don't think MJF's coming back. I know the thoughts
Okay.
are he's still going to try to do the run with
May I
CM Punk.
for a
Go
second?
ahead.
Okay. Let me ask you about this because this seems to be something that I've asked a lot of wrestlers I know about it. I still think that part of it became a work, and not to delve into your business completely, obviously, but when you guys are in a situation where you're half shooting with the person that's writing the check for the night, I mean, like, everyone has a way to approach it. I'm not saying you and Max would handle it the exact same way. I'm not asking how you would handle it, but like, how does it work with the rest of the locker room when you know there is clear tension between a guy who's like, I don't want to say top of the locker room, but somebody that the promoter's gonna like shake the hand of when he walks in the locker room. You know, there's those guys that like.
Yeah.
There's about 4 or 5 guys when the promoter walks in the locker. Yeah.
Big top guys.
Yeah, exactly. So, but like for you guys, what does the rest of the roster have to do when you know there's clear tension? Because we were at a show, Leroy and I were, and I'm not going to divulge the 2 wrestlers. That's none of my business. But we were told before the show, be careful working the show because both guys have heat. So you guys, I'm sure, are alerted that guys have heat from whatever they've done in other places.
Yeah.
And so you guys kind of have to, I don't want to say tiptoe, but you just have to be leery of it. How does that work with the rest of the locker room when you know that somebody is doing what's in the best interest? And again, Max, for all intents and purposes, from what we learned, as professional as he is, he wants to get paid. Nothing wrong with that. He's earned a payday. I think everyone agrees with that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But where, like, how do you guys handle that situation when there's clearly tension between a top guy and the promoter for that night? I mean, it's got to be something.
So what I've been going off is something that. Sorry.
No, you're good.
What I've been going off is something
Jesse does
that
it all the
Mike
time.
Bennett told me
Okay.
recently.
Yeah.
Which is
I heard Mike's a
not
really
fucking
nice guy.
real.
Yeah.
Heat doesn't exist.
Well,
Yeah.
Like, end of the day, it doesn't care how many people dislike guy over there. If you go work a show with them,
Yeah.
like, that's not gonna bar you from wrestling on a different show in a different state.
Right.
Like, just because you have friends that are, what am I saying? Have that?
Just because you don't have, basically, are you saying just because you have someone on one side of it,
Yeah, just because you're connected to one side
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you
have
can't
to pick a side?
Connections. Yeah, you don't have to pick a side.
Okay, yeah.
Nothing's forcing you to pick a side.
Right.
You're a completely independent person with free will. You can work for whoever you want to work for if you're a pro wrestler.
Right.
If you're an independent contractor.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
Which has also come up as a deal in wrestling a lot more recently. Is if
Not joking. We're gonna reach out to somebody to have a conversation about that here
Sure.
later on. But so like my whole thing is like, so I mean, I'll just ask this because I think athletes get asked this in like the NBA a lot.
Right.
Where do you stand with Max? Do you think Max is out of line to ask for that kind of money, or do you think that again? Because you've brought up multiple times, you want to be happy where you work, but you got to eat.
right.
So you guys have to be about your money to a point.
Yep.
Is there a disconnect with him and the rest of wrestlers for asking for? I mean, like, is there a number that's too much for you guys where you all of a sudden side with against the wrestler, or is that kind of subjective?
No, I don't really think it's obviously it's subjective.
Well, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think that there's really a number too high for him to ask for.
Okay.
But everything's in negotiation, right?
Yeah.
You ask for something, he makes another offer. As long as there's communication about that,
Yeah.
then you should be able to work to something agreeable to
Right.
have everybody be happy.
right.
Because MJF has made a lot of money for AEW.
Yes.
He's
And he was part of the first batch of signings, which again, all reports were the only 7-figure deals went to the Elite
And Chris Jericho.
and Chris Jericho. Everybody else was on at least a 6-figure deal,
Right.
and which is a lot. Don't get me wrong, but when you're talking about MJF, who was big on MLW television at that
Right,
point,
right.
his faction in MLW were one of those top guys,
Right.
and now Hammerstone is a whole nother beast.
Well,
That
he's a beast on his own now.
Alexander
Oh, yeah.
Hammerstone is another complete animal in and of himself. Go watch his highlight tape, folks. That guy could wrestle lucha. That guy could wrestle strong style. It don't matter what that man.
Just
can
watch
do.
MLW. It's
Yeah.
live every Thursday. Or, well, they put the show out every Thursday on YouTube.
Yeah.
It
Right,
costs you
yeah.
nothing. Go watch it.
Yeah. So basically, you guys in the back.
Also watch MAW. I believe they put the recording of Warrior on Sunday.
Yes, for the CW show. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But so for you guys,
There you go, Dave.
Max
I almost
is-
forgot it last
yeah,
week.
Max
There we
is
go.
definitely in his right to ask, based
Yeah.
on what you guys have seen backstage. He's made a lot of money.
yeah. Well, he's been under his contract for what 3 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's happened in the last 3 years? There's been a lot of price hikes. There's been inflation.
Yes.
The general workplace isn't getting paid enough.
Right.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
like,
That's
like
fair.
anybody that has a job isn't making enough money. That MJF has a job. He's not making enough money to live the lifestyle he wants to live. So he asks for more money. He's in his rights to do that.
Yeah.
But Tony Khan doesn't have to pay him, and that's where it gets tricky. Unless he doesn't want to do business with him, because he could just stop working with him. But at that point, just let him out of his contract.
Right. And that's not and again, that's not it's not like Tony's going to have it's not like Tony has to write a Russell Westbrook style check to let him go.
Yeah.
This isn't $47 million, bro. I mean, I'm guessing. Okay, so let's just use top tier 6-figure 900. Okay, let's just use 900,000 as our thing. By this point, 3 years in with another year left on it, what's he gonna have to write? Like a $250,000 check to let Max go?
Yeah.
Probably something
like that. Yeah.
Here's the problem, though. Their whole plans with CM Punk don't matter now. John Moxley is no longer an interim champion. CM Punk needs surgery.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, that came back
Really?
as it's bad.
yeah. So
That's the thing.
that was announced on Twitter on Friday.
Yep.
That he needs surgery. now.
That's
yeah.
the part people are not talking about. Now, okay, Rhea we found out about in the last 48 hours.
By the way, I hope to goodness you are going to be okay. What a scary thing to have your heart monitored.
Yep.
Yeah, that's sketchy.
About your age, like that's frightening because usually the body heals so quickly,
Well,
especially since you guys are these premier athletes. You guys work on your body. It is your
Right.
temple.
Yeah.
And the fact that she has to have her heart monitored like that scares the shit out of me. And I hope she's okay.
All the love and respect goes out to
Yeah.
Rhea. We hope you're okay. But that's the part nobody wants to talk about, especially in the deep cut of the IWC.
Right.
The two top guys in AEW, and I'm sorry, there's nobody more top than Punk and Bryan Danielson,
Yeah.
because in the world, Bryan might be number one. Their
When that guy's healthy, he's the best on the planet.
Their injuries in the last week, it's been covered up by a lot of the Meltzers of the world. They're bad. They have no timetable for either guy.
Well, now with Punk, it could be a year. So
A broken foot, folks.
it could be about it, especially
yeah.
since he's like 43.
Folks, don't go to WebMD or Google and Google how long does a broken foot take to heal.
Because they're going
Folks,
to tell
it
you that
doesn't
for a normal
matter.
human.
4 to 6 weeks, fine. You can walk down the street.
Right.
To have to jump off a rope, to have to pivot, I can't
Right.
imagine how long he'd have to rehab just to be able to do the springboard.
Yeah, he'd almost have to completely change his wrestling style like Scott Steiner did.
Right,
Right.
yeah. Because folks, let me tell you something. Big Papa Pump is one thing. Scott and Rick together as a tag team.
The
Oh.
athleticism of those two guys in there before the injuries caught
They're
up
a
was
top
insane.
5 team to me based on
definitely.
what they were. Because
And
they
yes,
Yeah.
once again, it was something you guys got to do that I didn't, and that's see and talk to Scott Steiner.
I know,
My
that
life
was awesome.
sucks. But
That was so awesome.
really nice guy. He's willing to talk about his nephew in a professional manner because he doesn't want to ruin things for Braun. He definitely knows that's Braun's thing right now.
Right.
Like Scott's a really nice guy, really cool
He
dude.
is.
Just plays a dick really well on
by
television.
the way,
Oh,
Rick
my.
looks really good.
Yeah, he does.
Rick
Yeah.
Rick Steiner might be in. I wish I look half as good as that guy does when I hit his age, folks.
Because I mean, he like Hulk Hogan had some like shortening of his height because of how many bumps he took to the spine.
Yeah.
So like the fact that he looks that good at his age is pretty nice.
Yeah.
All right, now to the rest of Dynamite.
Woo!
There was some good stuff.
There's
And-
always good stuff on the show.
and
I just wish I could get more of it.
I will give the Bucks
How
their
much
credit.
afterbirth did they have?
Surprisingly, this
Not
week
a-
was
not a lot, which
This
is
was
nice.
a weird Dynamite in the sense that they. Okay, I know everyone tells me, "Oh, there's more wrestling," which I get. Don't get me wrong, but WWE when they have an afterbirth, whether it's a good or bad afterbirth to a match, they'll explain it next week. Like they'll take 6 months off in AEW. It's impressive, Tony.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
surprised
I
you have the
know.
attention span for this. But here's the deal: the wrestling happened, and they decided to just let matches tail off into commercial. They were really good about it.
Right.
And by the way,
No placentas?
man,
Holy
no.
shit.
Now, one decision they will make, and actually, Tony, I'll give you credit for this. And if it was, someone made this decision. I like Jim Ross on a limited basis.
Yes.
He's more into it. I don't even think it's that he's checked out. First of all, he's been checked out for a while because again, all reports, no one's listening to him. How you don't listen to that guy, I don't know. But I think he's also just getting older to the point, and the cancer thing, folks, cancer will make you reevaluate a few things. I just don't think he had the energy for a while. Treatments are long,
No.
they're tiring.
Let me be clear.
I just think JR's
and
good
I'm happy
on
he
a
was
short
able
term.
to fight the cancer. Let's be clear about that. And
Yeah.
I'm almost done with the book, so I'll be able to do the book report on his
Perfect.
book
All right,
soon.
yeah.
But you guys didn't want to listen to one of the best finders of talent back in the day. The guy who, when he signed up with AEW, said, I got to give Cody and Tony a lot of credit. You know, they grabbed a lot of guys and gals who, if they can refine, they can compete with Vince just on a talent level.
Yeah.
By the way, they didn't like to do the refining thing, and we'll get to the Bucks here shortly. But
I know I should have left him in the past 2 weeks ago, but I had to.
Yeah,
no way to get
yeah.
to the, there's no
That's
way to
all
get
right.
to the show.
and you don't want to sit down and get any advice from a JR? Like, quick story, as Zach knows, I've met JR twice.
Okay.
Only thing I ever like to do is listen to him.
Yeah.
Like, he wanted to ask me about me as a person. I'm like, Jim, I got to be honest.
The last Turtle Lake show, folks, Leroy did a lot of ring stuff and a lot of backstage stuff. I sat next to a bushwhacker for 4 hours.
That's awesome.
I cannot tell you what I learned, what I heard, and what I can remember. And that was, by the way, I didn't even ask for an autograph or a photo. I got stories to tell.
Jim
My
Ross,
life.
in both times that I got to meet him, I believe gave me 25 years of wrestling history, and I still don't remember it all.
Okay.
It was beautiful.
We had a car ride with JR or with the King.
Jerry the King Lawler, yeah.
and
Damn it, I should've went to
and
that
that was
show.
awesome. And then I walked Jim the Anvil or Neihart. I mean,
Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart was there. Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Yeah, it was great.
Walked with him. Yeah, I didn't ask for an autograph from either one of them. I was hanging out with them.
Yeah,
Who cares?
yeah.
That was awesome.
But you guys get to have this guy in your locker room.
Yeah.
And you could talk to him for like 3 or
And based
4
on what
hours
I've
before
heard,
the show.
he's said he's never tried to be mean. He's never said you got to change everything. He's never said, and this is what I think a lot of people think he's saying. He's never said do what Vince would do. He's never said that.
So the big kerfuffle came from they had this battle royal during the pandemic era, and he's told them, you know, the next week after, because he was letting them watch the video, and he said, guys, on camera this looks terrible, because it was clear they were all just looking to go do their spots.
Yeah.
And he was just like, listen,
Which I'm guessing when you guys are in a class, the more people in the ring, the more controlled you have to be, because the attention kind of probably has to go to.
You got to be aware of what's going on.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
and really, because I think that might have been one of my first times on the show.
Yeah.
As I said, listen, the Royal Rumble, I give WWE a lot of credit for, because what a tough concept to execute every year.
Yes. Because you got to give everybody at least 90 seconds in the ring for people to know they're there.
Right.
They only got to do it once a year, though.
True.
True.
You have a full year to figure it out, but
Yeah.
it's but again, to pull off in the moment has got to be
Every
hard.
entrant,
sure.
every surprise entrant, how they're going to come in and do their shit. When do you know you're going to get eliminated? Which is why I give you guys credit for battle royals. That's a tough thing to fucking figure out.
They're
and
so
know.
much fun.
I've
I love
heard.
battle royals.
I've heard like they're actually really fun to do though.
One time I threw a basketball at my buddy Cole's head.
That's awesome.
It was.
That's awesome, and I love that.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
But in this battle royal, you could clearly see them yelling at each other to set out spots. On television, that looks terrible. And then they wondered why they dipped down to like 600,000 viewers. Well, because now everyone knew what you were going to do.
Yeah.
One of the biggest stars I got on a lot when I first came on here was who? Becky Lynch, because Becky Lynch is a yeller.
She is.
Yeah,
Becky, baby, I don't need to hear you yelling your shit. I just want to see the match. I don't need to know what's going to happen. That's the whole point of the storytelling. Like, that's the whole point.
Right.
That's why I love pro wrestling.
She has gotten better.
She's gotten, it's
Yes.
mostly better, especially now that fans are back. It's a lot
Yeah,
better now.
and by the way, huge ups to her for checking on Asuka after the table spot. That was a really cool moment to
Right,
see.
right.
Which, by the way, stuff Vince likes, that was something only the smart people got.
Right.
And no one else really knew. Other people thought it was just like a twitch from going through a ladder.
No.
Or going
No,
through a table.
no,
So
it's
like,
like,
the smart people got it.
"You okay?"
The casual people
I'm
that
good.
Vince loves were like, okay, they just went through a table.
It's because it's almost like
Because I'm sure you guys are told, here's how you check on somebody, but don't give away the house.
Yeah.
Basically,
yeah. Well, because you guys are trying to hurt each other, you're just trying to go have fun and have a good match.
Well,
and,
yeah, and it's the same thing as any combat sports. Like,
right,
referees will come check on you.
right,
They'll make sure you're all right.
right,
Yeah.
right. And so
Unless you're Aubrey, she'll just get in the spot.
she's a different story. I'm not even talking about Aubrey.
She's a hard worker.
She,
I like Aubrey.
she is, but
Aubrey.
She has to
I
learn
forget
a
his
little.
name, and I shouldn't forget his name because he's a great ref. The ref from MAW. I don't notice he's
Which
a part
one?
of the match unless he's counting. Now he's doing his job though. He's excellent. Is it Nick? Is that his name?
Nick's in there. I think there's Paul, one of the guys.
Yeah.
All I know is all the Minnesota like referee guys, really good guys.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
they're great.
know their stuff
Oh, yeah.
really well.
Super
Nick
helpful
train
too.
with now does Ken Anderson at the Academy School of Professional Wrestling, he does refs too, right?
It is what?
He does the referees too, right?
He
Yeah, I
trains the
believe
refs.
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know he trained Clark Feldman.
Okay, yeah.
Because Clark was originally training to be a wrestler, and then he became a referee after
Okay.
he realized what he liked better.
Right, right.
Well, yeah,
right.
yeah, no. Well, because remember, Alexa Bliss was a referee in NXT before she
Right,
got
before
moved to
she
the roster,
became a
yeah.
wrestler.
I was
yeah.
a referee for a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
okay.
yeah.
Took
Okay.
my mask off and
Okay, yeah.
started wrestling without it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
And I'm sure that's a completely different, or a great thing to do because you get a whole different like view, perspective of what the crowd's doing, more so than the actual competitors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get to be in there and you get to learn from
Right.
more people.
Yeah.
Right.
In this business, folks, reps is never a bad thing.
No, it
Reps
never is.
Everything.
Yeah.
Reps are everything. So he took heat because he pointed that out,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden they all were like, "JR is old. Like we can't talk to JR." And it was just like, and by the way, that was the report.
Yeah.
It was just like, all he said was the truth, which
Yeah.
is, you guys in the elite especially, because by the way, Cody agreed with him, and it was the first time Cody took heat backstage.
Yeah.
Because he's like, guys, that looked awful on camera.
Stand there.
Because
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you got the big tall dinosaur not moving at all after he's technically been eliminated, because he has to be the one to catch two of the guys. But he's sitting there waiting for them.
Act angry, throw a hissy fit, do something.
Beat people
Right.
up outside, whatever, until the spot comes. And I mean, listen.
If you're a face, go grab a kid and yell at the kid. What happened? Find a kid, do something.
Keep moving.
Exactly.
And now this is my transition to the Bucks, because they were the guiltiest party that day. Was don't shout at the guys, "Hey, come do your spot," because you're ready for yourself to get back in the ring. Basically, they were caught on camera saying, "Hey, now do the spot now." Well, guess what? There's no one in that fucking arena. We can all hear you. What spot? Oh, okay. They're gonna do. I think it was. I forget the Japanese
One of their
term for
moves.
it. But it's the 360 dive when you dive into a guy.
Tope suicida?
I think the suicide is through the ropes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Over the ropes.
But it's
Basement plancha?
I think that's
Yes.
the one. Yeah.
Well, hold on a sec. It's Kenny's thing that also Finn does, right?
right.
Yeah,
The name is eluding
just
me
like
right
a
now.
round
Yeah.
plancha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
You know who would know? Excalibur.
Yes, he would. Let's call him.
Please
Shit, I don't have his number.
Me neither.
not
Ah,
going into
damn
the
it.
fucking Bucks.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Damn it, we'll try.
I
We-
give them credit this week.
Okay.
Really?
This was a good promo.
Yeah.
This was a good way to set up a triple threat, which they're going to fucking win anyway. But
I'm
What's
telling
their-
you, Jesse, now that you're back from 2 weeks ago, I'm going to say this one more time. They're taking those belts off of FTR. I'm telling you right now.
it's
What's
going to be the worst thing to
Okay.
happen in pro wrestling.
what's the triple? It's gonna be at the Fighter Fest.
So
Whatever the fuck
yeah,
they're
so
doing.
it's them.
Fighter Fest week 1.
Right. so
Week
it's-
1.
Because that's
So we-
always a 2-week thing
It's a
now.
2-week
They
thing,
kept
yeah.
that from the pandemic. It's a 2-week
Right.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
It-
So this is week 1 coming
It's
up this
also
week.
Yeah, I
their
know, I saw
charity
that.
event, so I mean I'm not mad about it.
Right.
The only thing I ever hated about Fighter Fest was the first one was like, I don't know if you should be doing a charity event as your second ever official show.
Yeah.
Might be a little early there, folks, but I'm not mad about doing a charity show.
Right,
Never
right,
am.
right, right.
Never am.
So are they? wrestling FTR the first night, or it should be the second?
So
week?
they're wrestling.
They will not wrestle FTR until FTR finishes up with their ROH stuff.
So let's.
and probably
I'll
finishes
get to
up
that in a
AAA.
second. So they're wrestling Swerve and Keith Lee.
Yep.
Pause.
They're probably gonna.
I said Keith Lee was right for being upset, and as a black man, I will stand by that. You should have stuck around, though.
Yep.
What the fuck is he doing? That guy is one of the most entertaining wrestlers on the planet.
Yeah.
Got to beat Randy Orton on a major pay-per-view. They
I also
clearly
point out,
believed
sometimes
in you.
WWE just takes
Let
a long
me
period of time to
finish.
figure out what to do with it.
Let me finish. Swerve.
Yeah.
I get why you were pissed that they released that, but like I said, these two black men, I'm behind them 100%, and I'm not always, because as I just said earlier, I was ashamed.
Of
I was
Scorpio
ashamed
Sky.
Of Scorpio Sky. But
Jesse's views do not necessarily.
I'm very clear and
reflect
honest about
those
that
over
kind of
13
stuff.
cards.
You two are so much better than whatever the fuck you're doing now. And then Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs, who I hope leaves when his contract expires, because they are wasting him. Cody has done a great job with that young man, and they're wasting him.
We said
And Ricky
from-
Starks, who
what was
still
it?
hasn't sniffed a world title.
It was not post pandemic. It was the first couple shows in Daly's place. He had the
Oh, yeah.
match against Hangman.
Yeah.
I remember watching that and I'm like, bro, Hobbs just gets this. I don't know what
you
it
guys'
is.
boy Jim Cornette bought in, where it's like, damn, I like that kid. He seems to get it. By the way, it helps a lot when you're being trained by the Rhodes family. That helps.
It never hurts.
Those guys know what the fuck they're doing.
Never hurts.
Yeah.
Especially Dustin. And you two black tag teams are going to lose to the boys from Rancho Cuca, who gives a fuck, next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as a segment, I liked it. I did like the setup.
Yeah.
The Bucks are supposed to come out and be annoying their heels.
Yep.
I genuinely sometimes don't like them as people, though. I really don't.
But Jesse, in the world of even the indie
And
bubble,
by the way, that's very rare, because usually I love professional wrestlers.
You do,
What
you
guys
do.
do is tough.
You do.
And I respect it.
but Jesse, to be fair, in the indie bubble, even 17 years ago, you were booing them when everybody else was cheering them. So
I was at a PWG show, and they were technically the half babyface team. I booed the shit out of them as they walked out.
were they in Mount Rushmore
Because
yet? Okay.
because I got the chance to meet them, and I've never seen such fucking egos in my life. And here was my problem with that. You asked for your release out of TNA. You asked for it.
No. Actually, because they.
Yeah.
Well, no, because Jim Cornette was an ROH. They
Yeah.
didn't ask for they left.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was the story that Jim. No, by the way, Brian told that story about Kenny's things.
Yeah.
Remember. Everyone started. Remember, people are starting to see through the veil of the elite because they're the ones who made up a story that Jim Cornette begged them to do a story throughout the indies, and all Jim did, which Jim has confirmed, by the way, the locker room
Right.
confirmed, he just walked through the locker room and said, "Hey Bucks, we got the only story that anybody believes anymore." That's all he said. He walked in the locker room, walked out. But the Bucks were the ones who decided to try to make it into this whole thing that they told for a few years, and then when it got out that it never happened, everyone's kind of like, okay, you made $1 million, boys, but where is your credibility?
In the toilet.
And then they were so like the fucking flippantness to all their fans. And I was gonna wait in that line, and I was waiting in that line. And as me and my cousin and friends got closer, I'm like, I have no fucking interest in meeting these guys anymore, because they just felt it didn't even feel kayfabe. They were just disrespectful the whole time, like. And then, so yeah, I booed the shit out of them. You want to know why? Because I paid $100 to sit in front of a PWG show. So you're damn right. And I didn't touch them or anything like that, but I booed the shit out of them. They didn't like it. Didn't give a fuck. Now, after the show, because I knew a couple of the workers.
Knowing what I've heard stories about them, they probably remember you too.
Probably.
They probably do because they remember everything that happened.
So, and then I was helping with a couple. That was the first time I've ever actually been allowed to kind of help with the ring thing.
Yeah.
It was because my cousin knew a couple of the ring people from PWG.
Right.
Actually, one of the first times and I think our boy Masked Man runs PWG. Used to run PWG. We were just on commentary.
Excalibur.
Excalibur. Yeah.
sweetest man on the planet actually offered to pay. I'm like, no, man. Like, I'm happy to do this. Like, to learn this. This is really cool for
For
me.
all intents and purposes, from what I've heard, like I said, the dude's an awesome dude to
Yeah.
hang with. You could talk wrestling with him for a few hours.
Excalibur was fucking great.
I'm just not a fan of his commentary when he has to
And-
work with Tony and,
I'm
Jim.
And I'm
Well, he's
never
with
going to
Taz,
use
he's
his real
great.
name because he asked
Him
us
and-
not to use his real name.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, no. Him and Taz, for some reason, have a great chemistry together.
Yeah.
That's why, in my opinion, well, first of all, everybody wants to try the 3-man booth now because Vince went to it like 10 years ago. In my opinion, there's nothing wrong with two guys as long as they mesh.
Right. So that's always been my deal with the Bucks. And I've always said, listen, if they grow as wrestlers and stuff like that, and this was right before they went into New Japan, I was like, I'm always willing to just give them credit for their work as wrestlers. Because even if I don't like you as a person, being a pro wrestler is tough, and I will always give credit where credit's due. But what happened? They go to New Japan right away. And guess what? They start doing the same shit they were already doing PWG. And then wondering why they weren't getting World Heavyweight Tag title shots when they first got there. I don't know. Maybe because Gato said, can you learn to do something more than just go do like 7 spots in a match? Because that's fine. We have smaller guys that can do that. We can put you with them. But you think you're the top tag team. And then this is, to me, this is one, even for Kenny, it's the most egregious thing.
Not to
One of the
interrupt,
most-
but okay, so you've done shows. You know that every show has varying guys that do different styles.
Yeah.
How exactly is it literally they build that card where the opening match is it like the leak stuff that they said WWE did years ago, which is the opening match has to be high energy, has to be fast, or is it kind of they just see what they have and they're like, hey, so how do you guys get told the card's built in terms of like the different varying styles?
So you kind of got to think of it like everything's got to be built around the crowd, really.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So you want to start them off hot.
Yeah.
Right.
Give them maybe throw 2 high flyers in the ring.
Okay.
And have a banger match.
Right.
And then people need to go get beers, so you put on maybe a battle royal because something low stakes, you know.
Right.
Okay.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And then maybe after that, you want to showcase some wrestling.
Right.
So you put 2 guys out there that can do some real good technical chain
Okay, yeah,
wrestling
yeah.
and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And then like everything has its place on the card. But I think where it gets interesting is when different styles like come together.
Right.
So you'll get like your high flyer versus your giant.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
You'll have the hardcore guy versus the shooter guy.
Right.
The submission guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And like that's every booker is different. Like every promoter, every
Yeah.
Right.
creative mind.
Have you ever
is
done a
different.
show where they flipped matches backstage because the crowd flipped? Has that happened to you at all? Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it once or twice.
Okay.
On like spot shows.
But
just
for the most part, you
like-
guys kind of get your card and you stick to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can tell like after 1 or 2 matches, oh yeah, this crowd doesn't care about like good guys. So I don't know, maybe do a little more attitude era type
Okay.
stuff.
Right,
okay.
right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe change, just tweak your style.
So
it
you're not
works.
necessarily changing the results, or you're changing the
You're just
the
changing
place. You're
how you do it.
okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. Go ahead, Jesse.
But not the Young Bucks. See, you know this now. Very young to your career,
These guys are almost 40.
healthy, good-looking guy. Probably going to have a lot more female fans.
Oh yeah.
No, not the Young Bucks. We're almost 20 years in. They've been doing the same match for 20 years. Now, in the territory days, you get away with that. Because it wasn't always going to be the same crowd that saw you. And even if they did, they probably liked your style. And they're okay with that. Nowadays, you do got to change it up a little bit.
I know I talked earlier about how when you do when you said you wrestled one person every day for like a year run, you were in different crowds, but it's also the age of social media. That shit gets out in an instant.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have to be leery of, okay, it might have just been a cell phone video, but you might see it on your social media account and say, okay, I got to kind of tweak that. Not that you have to never do it again, but you can't do it 3 times in a row after the video just got out.
Yeah.
Type of idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you got to make sure that the finish is different.
Right.
Yeah,
Like, you can't
yeah.
have the same finish every night.
Right, right.
You gotta mix it up, do something a little more creative. You gotta,
Right.
like switch it up if you're gonna be doing that year-long run with somebody.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Because I'm sure when you work with somebody so long in a row, you do just get comfortable, and I'm sure every match will have a point where you do it the exact same all 100 times because it's in the middle. It's not maybe an important spot, but it's something you also are comfortable with. It's gotten a big reaction, and it's one of those bigger moments. Kind of like when Michaels used to start doing the nip up and all the other kind of stuff. But I'm sure you guys get comfortable. But like you said, the moment they'll remember, like the spots or the finish, tweak that a little bit each night.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not the Bucks.
Not
the Young Bucks.
Not the Young Bucks.
No. And I gave them credit when they did it with FTR. I think that was the second or third match. I think that was the second match.
They've only had two.
Right.
First one was the 29-minute.
Right.
one.
That one was awesome.
That was a good match.
Which was great.
That was a good match.
And then the second one, I liked that they did tweak it, but then my brain went, wait a minute, I've also seen them wrestle the Lucha Brothers a lot in my life.
Many a time.
They've done more matches than what AEW has shown because how often did they work Mexico back when they were on the circuit?
Not as much, but they worked PWG a lot though.
And the Lucha Brothers
Right,
worked,
right.
yeah.
By the
Like
way,
Crash Lucha.
to
and
anyone
all
who's
that
never
down there.
seen Ray Phoenix live, go see Ray Phoenix live.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. You're like, dudes were just sweating on these ropes, and he uses them like they're a toy. Like it means nothing to him. Gravity is nothing to him.
That family gene pool is not of this earth. You got arguably one of the best high flyers maybe ever in Lucha. Put him in any era.
And then Penta is just an all-world beater.
Penta's the guy that you look at him in Lucha, and you're like, he can kind of fly,
Yeah.
but he's just gonna beat your ass.
Yeah.
That's all he's gonna do.
That's his whole style. It's
That's just
physical.
what Penta's gonna do.
So, but no, not the Bucks. No. No, we're going to continue to do the same shit.
Have you also noticed, as 18-year veterans, they have great matches, but when we talk about their great matches in AEW, it's FTR, it's the Lucha Brothers, it's tag teams you should work well with.
No. They have yet to have a great match with Lucha Brothers in AEW. You want to know why? Because I've already seen them.
That's fair.
I can call those spots. I know, especially the ladder. I can call them now. I know exactly when they're going to happen.
FTR's
the only one that
FTR's the
actually
only team in the world that's like, we don't care what you want.
The only one
this
that
is what we're gonna
surprised
do.
me
Like,
was the
we don't
cage
care.
match. They actually changed some stuff up, and I went, damn, this was good.
You mean they did the shoe with the thumbtacks?
Besides that stupid shit.
They
The
should do a
super
scaffold match.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Completely switch things up.
But it was just like,
Well, then they'd just be the new Midnight Express if they did a scaffold
well,
match.
because some people were
Rock
like,
and roll.
There you go.
well, some people were like, well, Undertaker has
I
kind
love
of
that.
done,
I love this guy just made the rock and roll.
I know.
That's great. I love having people on that love classic tag team wrestling.
Oh yeah.
But you just got a great mind like that. So I know your career is going to take. It's going to
Appreciate
be
it.
awesome.
Yeah.
But it's like some people have mentioned to me since I've said that on the show that hey, the Undertaker has had a lot of the same matches. I'm like, but Mark has done a lot of tweaking.
Yeah.
And not like they're not all the same now. They have some of the same characteristics, yes, but they're not all the same. I'm like, when you've seen at least $5 matches, you've literally damn near seen them all.
Yeah.
Because these guys don't like to change.
Jesse showed me a match of them during the junior tag team. What's the tournament for the junior tag team title?
It's the
Super Junior Grand Prix.
Yeah, the Super Junior Grand Prix or something like
anyway,
that.
he showed me that one year when the Bucks ran. I think they won that year.
They've won twice.
Okay, so yeah, it was one of the 2 years they won, and he showed me the match, and I literally looked at you, and you were the least surprised of everybody, and I said, "This looks exactly like the 6-man they had when I went to see them in Hopkins, Minnesota."
Yeah.
And Jesse was like, "Wasn't that like 3 years ago?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, it was."
Yep. You can like I tell people all the time, like, even if you're a super fan of them, like, really think about it. Can't you just, when you can just call the spots? To me, a movie is only really good in that sense when I could call it because I've watched the same movie so much.
Yeah.
That's okay. But
if you're in the theater and you're seeing the movie for the first time and you're literally calling
and
the
I
next
know
6
what's
scenes,
about to happen.
it's not as fun.
That's why I used to say horror movies to me between like 2007 and like 2011. I couldn't appreciate the found footage stuff because I knew exactly what the fuck was about to happen. I was doing haunted houses and stuff, so I knew exactly what you were about to do.
Well, they've tried to recreate the Blair Witch Project so many times
Right.
that the Blair
and
Witch
some
Project
were
is
actually
brought down.
creative, and I'm like, oh, that's something I haven't seen. That's awesome. Because usually stories in horror films are shit.
You're just mad because the black guy dies first every time.
Why is that a trope? Anyway, we run from shit. Why would we die first?
That's the biggest thing. It's the most unrealistic thing in the world. Wrestling is what it is, but the fact that anyone thinks that a black person would even go into the house.
We be like, man, I miss you. Like, I'll be at the funeral, but I'm not going in that house.
My ass ain't going in there. You go die.
No.
See ya.
I will tell your families I loved
You're
you
not
all.
just in the You're not just in the running car. You're driving the damn thing.
Oh, I'm leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Zach, I told you there was a motherfucking movement, and now you want to go in? I loved you, bro. I'm leaving. Like, that's it. I'm leaving.
As they say,
But
my black ass is out of here.
Yeah,
Fuck you.
yeah, exactly.
I loved you dearly.
Yeah.
As your fiance has told you, like, oh, he's going to let you die. Like, absolutely.
Yep.
I told you there was something weird walking in the house. I'm leaving.
Yep.
So I hope this triple threat is something new because these are two teams they have not worked with.
True.
Ricky is a great wrestler. Like all six of these guys are actually very good.
I know they've been in a group for like over two and a half years now, but this is the first time they've really been out as a tag team. Ricky and Hobbs work well together.
They work great together. And like I have liked the feud with Swerve, Keith, and Ricky and Hobbs. But I'm just like, the other two guys are technically main event caliber wrestlers. Why don't we do more with this? Because it has felt very like, speaking of, in the last thing on Dynamite, unfortunately, I don't know what's going on with Jay Cargill anymore, dude.
It is the most confusing thing. So
That is true. I do agree.
at the beginning of the year, we gave our year-end awards, basically. And I gave Jade Woman of the Year for 2021. I don't know how you couldn't, in my opinion, because she had a good year. But everything since has just been, we know she's going to win. No one's been credible enough to end the second longest win streak in AEW, surprisingly behind Colton Gunn. We said that last week. Still don't know how that's a thing, but you know. But yeah, she...
Scissor me daddy ass. By the way, that's over
I
now.
love
That
that.
happened. Yeah. Yeah. Scissor me daddy ass.
That's just wrong.
Every time.
But anyway, no. It's just she's been an anomaly, and not in a good way. The look has not changed. She's doing all these photo shoots, which is not a bad thing. She's a good-looking woman. You can't get mad at that. But, like, you barely defend this thing, and when you do, the person has not been nearly credible enough to take it off of you. Then you add a person who's a good mouthpiece, and ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, what is this? Mr. Stokely is adding nothing, and yet he was the reason I believed in Diamond Mine because of Malcolm Bivens.
I love Diamond Mine
Right.
still.
Ladies and gentlemen, Leroy is off to a...
No.
Oh.
Just got to drop the kids off. I'll be back.
Leroy will be back. He has to drop the kids off because he's going to have a nice night. Jesse's now in the hot seat. So anyway, but no. All right, so you've watched Jade a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know Jade. What is your opinion so far in 2022? Because in my opinion, she's nowhere near what she was last year.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just run in place for a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
Your wheels start spinning.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to progress unless you make a change.
Right.
Yeah.
I think maybe she needs to make a change in her training.
Right.
Okay,
and
yeah.
Maybe that could.
But that's the strangest part. He says change. We've added the baddie section.
Which has meant nothing.
That's all on TV though.
Yeah.
I'm talking
True.
about.
Well,
the
yeah.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah.
This could help.
Which is
her.
weird because there's a lot of footage of her working with Brian. Okay, weirdest thing that I saw.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not,
true.
not questioning the training.
That's true.
I'm not saying it's easy. But there was a moment where she was in the ring with Bryan Danielson and William Regal. And Brian was just explaining a spot after you throw someone to the ground.
Right.
If you want, you can do a simple just drop to your knee and have your knee land, or basically it's your shin, but the knee is what people think.
Right.
Your shin falls on the small of their back and you pop right back up.
Right.
It's a simple heel tactic that's always gotten heat. It's quick, it's easy, it doesn't really hurt anybody.
Right.
And she literally just looks at him and says, I don't know if I'm ready for that. And I'm like, that's not a tough spot.
But I give her credit because at least she's being honest about
Well,
it.
yeah, but yeah, and that's fine. But now it's back to, you mentioned earlier, production issues. Why is that getting out? That's the company not helping you.
Here's my problem with their production. You have a Jerry Lynn there who actually helped with TNA production for a while.
Well, because Jerry would wrestle part-time on TNA when there was a big spot
right.
show for X Division.
Right.
But for the most part, the dude was producing in the
By
back.
the way, guy from Minnesota.
Yeah,
Jerry
love
Lynn.
Jerry Lynn.
Great. Fuck. We accidentally mentioned him once on the show, and I almost went on for like half an hour. They had to stop me.
One of my proudest accomplishments. He follows me on Twitter.
Oh, that's
great.
awesome.
People
I can't even get him to respond to me.
Right. People always ask about the dynamic on the show. Is like Zach. Sometimes you'll talk for a bit. To be fair to you guys, this is pro wrestling. If I don't talk more, Jesse will take up the whole hour of the show.
And I will start fawning over guys like Jerry Lynn. You'll be like, who? And I'll be like, let me show you something.
we have to get through this list. And Jesse will spend an hour and a half on Stardom.
But it's because to me, it's not just the backstage stuff with Jade.
Right.
Because clearly she has tried to make strides, working with Brian, working with Frankie.
She was given a terrible first promo, and somehow
has made some stuff and was on Dark Improving, which is what that show is for, Dark Elevation.
God, I wish that was on TV. I really wish.
I got to be honest, so do I.
Are you kidding me? Are you telling me? Because remember, TNA used to have the replay. It was like 8 in the morning on Saturdays.
Yeah.
What's on it? Okay, seriously, what's on it at 8 in the morning on a Saturday on TBS?
To be honest, nothing anymore.
Unless it's like baseball season or a dog show.
A rerun of a really old DC film. Yeah.
Family Guy don't need the money anymore. He's making more money off American Dad anyway. But basically, it's like you can't get that slot to just give me the replay of what was Dark on YouTube. You can't do that.
And now they're going to do the triple threat with her and Athena. And by the way, apparently you were right. All Chris Statlander needed to do is get rid of the alien stuff.
I'm just mad that
people are taking her more seriously.
The only thing I'm mad about is that, and again, maybe this is Vince's Jedi mind trick. I'm just mad that they haven't, quote, give me a reason. It just kind of happened.
Well, Vince doesn't always do it either, though.
He's guilty of it more than anybody. Don't get me wrong, but he's been around for 40 years. You're going to make some slips. But, like...
I still remember when Gregory Helms was just Gregory Helms again after being the Hurricane for like 6 years. And the story for it was not good.
Yeah, it was pretty lackluster. But anyway...
I don't like the character. That's not who I am. Okay.
Anyway. But yeah, no. So to close out Dynamite, it's just... I don't know what it is, but this is the one. This is one of those moments where eat your pride and say Vince is right, because this is a lot of stuff that Vince wouldn't let happen.
Yeah,
this is a lot of stuff that Vince would say, okay, we got to go back to the drawing board.
I've always said I don't mind them being the alternative.
Yeah,
it's just how you present it matters, especially to when you and your competitor are supposed to be the two companies that want to bring people back to pro wrestling.
Yeah, this
is not a good way of doing it.
No.
So, quick shout out to a couple of sponsors, Haitian Heat.
Yep.
First of all, you guys can always find Haitian Heat, Facebook.com/Haitian Heat. Get your orders. They always, they do take your email, and they will always update you on the process. Remember, they ferment and do all of the work for both the barbecue sauces and the hot sauces right here in the Twin Ports. And they actually do so at a couple of stores now.
Yep.
And they're working on a nationwide store as well. Once again, Facebook.com/Haitian Heat. We're actually hoping soon to have Al Sands back on the show.
His flight got delayed.
Yeah.
Or they're trying to get
a new date.
His opponent caught COVID.
Yeah,
so,
we still live in a COVID world, people. It is what it is. I know a lot of people love when we talk boxing with Al, so we're hoping to have him back soon.
Yep.
Dark Arts Entertainment. Once again, darkartsentertainment.com, or get the app.
Dark Arts Vegas.
Thank you. darkartsvegas.com, or get the app. The app is working from what I know, but if you ever have issues, you can always find them on Facebook or on Twitter.
And also,
their customer service is wonderful.
And
they're also 420 friendly.
Exactly. And also, folks, go hit up a show.
I plan on getting to the one in August now that I can't make the one in July.
That's great.
Had to put my money to bills, unfortunately.
It happens.
So, and then, of course, Handmade Mama, Battle Draft Podcast, and Luke's Photo Booth. We will as we always do, we will have all their links in the show description. Go check out Luke's Photo Booth. They do excellent work. Go check out Handmade Mama, because especially you want to get the kids something pre-fall here.
Yeah.
Go get it from her now before she's too busy to get it out to you.
Oh, yeah.
And then Battle Draft Podcast, check them out. They do an excellent show. I hope to have them on at some point soon.
We're working on it.
I know we're working on it. Also, check out our buddy Cal.
At Friends of the Squared Circle.
And they put out a show on Facebook and on YouTube every Thursday. Mm-hmm. Go check them out as well.
Yep. All right. So, as we go on, I'm looking forward to this because it's the second one. The first one was a banger. Briscoe's FTR at Death Before Dishonor. Really looking forward to this.
For the ROH Tag Team titles.
Okay, so here's my question. when the Bucks and FTR finally have match 3,
Unfortunately.
is it going to be for all 4 belts, or do you think the Briscoes are going to go to the? Well, okay. Here's the thing. Is it going to be okay for Tony to put them on Ring of Honor? Maybe he's not allowed on Dynamite, but depending on what channel he gets Ring of Honor on.
Well, Ring of Honor is going to be on either of the 4 major Turner / WB stations. So
They're going to be on the Hallmark channel?
it could be Hallmark,
hope
it could
so.
be CW.
That'd be the great.
out on the Hallmark.
Oh my God! Could you imagine in between random?
Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Yeah.
Still happy music in between.
Oh God! In between random mysteries that you figure out in the first 25 seconds. And
We're gonna run long, but stay tuned because Touched by an Angel's coming on.
Oh, please, God, let that happen. All right, but no, I'm looking forward to this. FTR and Briscoes 1 was, oh my God.
See, the thing about Ring of Honor is what's going to happen. So, of course, Warner is now merged with Discovery. New boss is in. He's already said that he's actually moving Elevation and Dark onto the streaming platform first of HBO, or what's going to become Discovery Max.
Yeah.
So you won't actually be able to watch those live on YouTube anymore. They'll be on later on in the week.
Yeah.
So he's already said that. Yeah. As far as future shows, I got a feeling they're going to all end up on the streaming platform. So that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, and again, we're kind of going. Vince has always been able to stick with cable because he gets there's still a world there.
Right.
And luckily for him, even though wrestling's lost its audience over the last few years, cable has lost stuff to streaming services. So if you're the only dog in town and you're still bringing a decent rating, they'll pay you more to stay on cable.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a really impressive model.
Well, and
that he has.
the good thing about for Tony and the fact that Discovery probably understands they're paying pennies on the dime for pro wrestling right now.
Yeah.
Is that they can kind of promote them, which they have been doing more of, and putting them on Discovery Max here. And by the way, apparently the thought is to also, because that guy at Discovery is very smart, and he goes, Vince made the decision years ago to just put the pay-per-views on the streaming platform, and more people will see it. Mm-hmm. Because not everyone wants to pay $50 for anything anymore.
Very few.
It's rare for UFC now, which is why they put the deal in place with ESPN, and you still pay an extra $30 to watch the event.
Well, not only that, but now you've got places like Buffalo Wild Wings and other major sports bars are allowed to give it away for free as long as they pay for the one-time thing.
Right.
Because again, the sports bar business helps out UFC in general because of the trickle. It's funny. Trickle down works in sports, doesn't work in actual economics.
Right.
Okay, so we'll knock a few things out here. Where is Balye? Reportedly, she's training to get back in the ring. Again, it was a fully torn ACL, which is usually 6 to 8 months.
It's just really strange because it was their people who put out the report that she actually was technically ready for Mania. Now, plans change.
Yeah.
Things change, so they've held it off, and SummerSlam is probably where we'll see her return.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's once again, it's one of those weird WWE things where I'm like, well, why the fuck did you put it out there in the first place?
Right.
Then? Otherwise, yeah, we'll probably see her back at SummerSlam at some point. In her
Vacant has now won a new title. He went across the pond to get it
for a short time. There was an injury to Ilya Dragunov. Had to vacate the
NXT UK
World Championship.
Which, by the way, folks, if you didn't watch Dragunov up until this point, that's on you. He had a great run.
Guys, Peacock
He had
is
a banger with Walter.
Oh my God!
Even after that, he's had bangers with half the guys. Now,
A-Kid.
Oh,
Tyler Bate. I mean,
by the way, A-Kid has a new gimmick coming on NXT.
NXT.
Yep.
It's a weird name.
Axiom.
Yeah.
He might have come up with it though, because this is now Triple H's batch of guys.
But it's still Vince's decree of them not using their names anymore. Cody was going to be the last exception, of course.
It's okay. Vince will change his mind in like 6 months.
If he's still there, we're
exactly.
going to get to him
We'll
in a minute.
in a second.
But yeah, so Tyler Bate won the tournament.
Yep.
And now Tyler Bate is a 3-time, I believe, 2-time. Thank you.
No
for the
one's
correction.
won it more than twice. I don't think.
I think so. Yeah.
NXT UK.
Usually the champions stay champions
They're
for a long
longer
time.
reigns.
Yeah.
Over in the UK.
Yeah.
But again, folks, Peacock, because it's only an hour show, you only get one commercial. It's an hour long.
You literally get 55 minutes of just the best WWE actually probably does actually have to offer, and you only get one commercial, and most of the time it's from them.
And by the way, folks, you're going to see half of them on the NXT 2.0 roster in the next year.
And the next 6 months, probably.
Because Jordan Devlin now, JD
McConnell.
McConnell.
So, yeah.
Good debut for him. I liked that.
Yeah.
We'll get to the Great American Bash.
We're going to get to the Great American Bash
but
here.
we're going to knock it out. In the least surprising news, Vince has more shit. No one's shocked in the wrestling world because, again, I refer back to the meme. How can you guys... Aren't you guys shocked? Anyone who watched wrestling from 1996. Nope. No one is shocked. No one... But, again, if I can get outside of wrestling for like 2 seconds, this is me looking at people and saying... If you want to idolize someone, that's fine. You want to idolize Benoit in the ring, that's great. No issue there because, again, in the ring, technically one of the greatest of all time. Yeah. All the other guys you talked about, tape review, idolize them all you want. That's fine. Don't idolize billionaires because here's why. And Jesse and I had this conversation on a totally separate topic at lunch. Guys, you can't make that amount of money without stepping on some people and doing some really shady shit. You don't get that kind of money without some skeletons in a closet.
So one of the people we mentioned earlier and we were talking about at lunch was Elon Musk. As I've said for years, even though, I mean, people just don't want to believe facts until facts.
Everyone was like, he's a different kind of billionaire.
He's the greatest guy.
Tony Stark.
Yeah, he's the greatest guy
exactly.
ever. And I said, if not for Daddy, that guy is the worst fucking billionaire I've ever seen in my life. He cannot run a business. He gets caught in stupid scandal after stupid scandal after stupid scandal.
He now has 9 confirmed children.
He also almost ran Tesla out of business twice.
Yeah.
He's not a good business dealer and owner at all.
No.
Plus the fact that he slept with Amber Heard is a different thing. But of course Vince McMahon probably isn't the greatest fucking human. We've known that for years. Now, I'm not excusing his behavior.
No one is. But coming from the honest side of wrestling, because I've been on every wrestling site that I can find, Facebook, Twitter, wherever. Everyone agrees the same thing. The actual wrestling fans are like, yeah, ain't nobody shocked. No one's condoning the behavior, but ain't nobody shocked about this. Like, yeah. Well, and like Jesse pointed out on our show, which I've tried to explain to the wrestling audience, you've seen me try to do it. Guys, he and Linda have not officially been together for probably 15 years.
Maybe 20.
I'd say it's been closer to 2 decades. Now, again, I'll just say this live because no one cares. My grandparents, neither grandparents should still be married. That's just truth. Both sides of my family get this, right. But it's their era. Divorce didn't make any sense.
True.
They're also all in their 90s, so their money's tied. Like it's just way too much of a hassle. Vince and her also are on the very Republican Christian side of things, so divorce don't look great. She's also in the politics, so having a husband helps her at the polls. Don't know why. I prefer it to be your ideals, but that's the way that side decides to do things. But anyway, guys, none of this is shocking. We're not excusing it. I also don't think that people also realize there's no jail time really here unless the forcible stuff becomes a bigger issue. Right. In reality, what people have to understand, let me explain how this works, and I'm sure somebody could go into more detail than me, but this is something...
I'm actually going to because
well, no, not specifically. Okay, but okay. So the SEC, not the football conference, but the SEC that controls Wall Street.
Yes.
They do not, very rarely, unless you do something that is egregious, they don't go for criminal charges. They just want the money to get handled properly. That's all they want.
Well, there's also the fact that usually the elites don't prosecute each other unless they've been robbing each other.
Exactly. So folks, arguably nothing is criminally going to come of him unless more allegations get more serious. And again, there's also the whole statute of limitations thing. So I don't expect anything to really come out of this. So don't get yourselves hyped up over that.
Criminally, no.
Yeah.
But
financially, he could be
ruined.
Here's
the thing. The latest report.
Yeah.
What it puts him at is in almost, and we're getting close to almost untenable situation where stock-wise, the more this hurts stock-wise, the more that board of directors goes, Vince.
Yeah.
you're gonna have to go.
Here's the other problem: is they're under investigation by the SEC because they don't know if the board of directors has acted in the. Because here's the deal, folks. Let me explain a board of directors.
Right.
It's made up of a group of people. However many you want is up to you. Now, a lot of times, these people have nothing to do with the company.
They're the answer to the stockholders.
There are doctors who have MDs and they're like the best brain surgeons in the world. They're on 4 different board of directors and 4 different lines of work.
Right.
Why? Because their only job is the financial, fiscal future of the company they're in. They get paid very handsomely to make sure the fiscalness happens, but their job is to make sure the money keeps coming in. They're under investigation to see, okay, you're investigating him internally, but when all this stuff was going on, how much did you know?
Right.
Are you culpable? Were you acting in the financial? Because again, the SEC does not want businesses to fail because then their job goes away. They ain't stupid.
Your business failing only affects them if all businesses fail.
Yeah.
You failing on your own, though, does not affect
Well,
them.
yeah.
But his situation is starting to become, if the more stories that come out that he dug into company money, it's gonna be the sad ending of they even his daughter will have no choice. Dad, you're gonna, even though they're gonna recuse themselves from the investigation, which they have.
Yes,
it goes to,
is Nick involved? Okay. I know that Triple H and Stephanie have both recused themselves because that's obvious. Your family. Is Nick involved?
Nick probably will recuse himself.
Yes.
Because what's going to happen is that they're going to probably rename Stephanie the principal owner again.
Yes.
Because stock-wise, the more stock that goes down from these stories, they're going to need to then rely on the fact that she's one of the world's most respected businesswomen.
Yes.
To rebuild the stock.
And again, going back to your point, when she first left, there were reports she wasn't doing a good job. We've pretty much proven that was because she was given jobs that she did not go to school for. That wasn't her expertise. She was handed more responsibility when they lost the one person off of the board.
Right.
So it's not that she's bad at what she's good at. It's that she was given responsibilities that she was not capable of doing. That's all that was. And like I told Jesse when this first happened, Arlen, most powerful female executive arguably in all of entertainment. Mm-hmm. You don't think sponsors are going to line up to work with her as long as Dad is gone? As long as they're ensured that Vince has nothing to do with this, she will be she will have her phone lines open 24/7 for sponsorships because she will be the most powerful female in all of entertainment.
Right.
Disney will answer to her if it's a female decision. That's how powerful she'll become.
Technically, there are still 2 Disney daughters alive, so I don't.
But they both pretty much don't deal with
they don't actually deal with the company.
No,
That's right.
But anyway, so all right, so we've pretty much put to bed that because again, there's still more to come out. But hey, once again, from all 4 of us here, Leroy's bagging the Billy, we all agree, Vince, maybe you should just leave.
Yeah.
Before this gets really bad.
He should retire. He's old enough. He's earned it.
The problem is, and this goes back to regardless of how you feel about billionaires, they get where they are because they, for some reason, have a work ethic that is unmatched by 99% of the world. For better or for worse, they have that work ethic.
Really, with Vince, it's his own ego of I'm gonna die working.
You gotta turn your.
There we go.
There. Now I can hear you.
Now
better.
we can hear me.
Yeah.
He's gonna die working.
And so is Ric Flair. Next topic. Anyway.
Well, hey, we were talking about seasons, episodes, stuff like that earlier. With Simpsons. Simpsons have been around since '89.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Raw has only been around since '93. So season wise, they got
seasons, yes, but weekly episodic television.
Weekly
episodes.
Okay.
They're on SmackDown 1 or 2.
Yeah.
1,560
for Raw.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's give or take because there's a few
SmackDown's
a few Mondays
1,300 right now?
Yeah,
they're at like 1,500 something, but there have been a few Mondays where they've been off or whatever.
Because
like
of
that.
Westminster and some other shit.
Stuff like that.
But they've been moved to other shows.
Yeah.
Other shows.
Fucking Fox ended up buying Westminster. That's a different story. So,
all right. Before we get to
are the ladies' tag team titles done? Let's just get to this.
I want to say no because they are alluding. Because they alluded to them on, was it Raw or SmackDown? They alluded to them.
SmackDown.
It was on SmackDown. They alluded to them. Oddly enough, I think once again we said it. Naomi and Sasha were right. No one denied that.
They are overall right about the creators.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
But they are now building more tag teams very loosely, but it's happening.
Yeah.
There was the video with Rhonda and Shayna referred to Natty as her tag team partner.
Yeah.
Now that I think was more shoot.
No. That was half and half.
That was having okay, so that was half
that
and
was
half.
off of WWE programming.
True. Okay. Yeah. That's fair. But yeah, no, they are loosely creating a tag team division for the women because again, I think now that someone is on administrative leave, which means get your affairs in order. We're firing your ass in 3 months. You've been given your 90 days, but we haven't announced it. And one guy is now in charge of talent relations, not creative. I think they're going to build it back up, which once again will prove Sasha and Naomi right. Naomi, we all believe, will be back at some point. Sasha will probably go to do movies for a
Pause.
few years.
I want you to put this on the docket for me and you next week.
Okay.
Leroy.
Okay.
Because you now get to be Zach and play devil's advocate.
Oh,
Why do
I'll
people
try.
like Bruce Pritchard?
Oh, thank God I ain't got to do this. Have fun, Leroy. Suck it. Ugh, I get to be drunk and
I look forward to your argument, sir. As a matter of fact, to anyone listening to the podcast, please
send
go
in
to-
your argument.
Send in your argument on either Twitter or on Facebook. I would love to see it.
And by the way, Arlen, you are welcome back any week if you want to come try this.
As a
again.
matter of
That'd be
fact,
sweet.
you
are
can-
welcome back
you
any
can-
week.
You can literally,
yeah.
if you can't come in next
Any
week,
Sunday,
you can literally
you can
message
call.
us.
Yeah,
Right.
awesome.
yeah, you can call in too.
No, yeah,
But it's not that far away, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's 10 minutes.
He's the man with the schedule. Let him know,
You
and
could-
we are all.
You could
in.
also make the same argument, Arlen, if you like. I want to hear people's arguments.
Yeah.
Because
I-
usually I would say I feel
Save
the
it for next
minority.
week, Leroy.
But
I-
next
I-
week
I'm-
we're going to get into this.
I'm trying to think if I do have an argument in favor of liking him.
Dude, what is the company motto? 95% of this is bullshit.
All right, I'll try. I'll try my
Yeah,
best.
but that's not a good selling point to if we decide to become publicly traded. Hey, 95% of this is bullshit. Well, I can't invest in bullshit.
That's fair.
You know that's
Wait a
actually,
minute,
that's a
wait a
lie because people invest in NFTs. Moving on.
I don't think it'll be SummerSlam because I think they have plans.
Yes.
But I think that around Survivor Series you might see something with those belts.
Right.
Redesigned because they want to get the image away from them dumping them on the table.
Either that or
but
just,
they're going to do something
or
with
the
it.
or the NXT ones become the all three brands ones again.
Which I'm okay
because
with.
that idea was a good idea.
Yeah.
They just never executed
Right.
it.
Okay, and then Jesse, they finally turned Lacey Evans heel, and you probably rolled your eyes like, well, goddamn.
I just don't get it.
She got over as herself, and if she had just come out and been the poppy, you were in Texas.
Well, by the way,
Where are they more patriotic than
number one.
Texas?
That's
So,
true.
I
That
did
is
apologize to Lee. See, I have been drinking on Friday. It was a great day. I saw Thor: Love and Thunder. There were no like terrible phone calls. I went and had Hanabi, which is a great Japanese restaurant here in town.
Love it.
Maybe it might be
Be a
a
little-
sponsor later on.
We're working on
true. You got some sake?
It did have some sake and it was delicious.
He had a lot of sake,
I
yeah.
definitely had some sake.
There was a lot of sake.
I probably had more sake before I drove home than I should have, but I still made it home.
That's good.
Do not
That's
advocate
good.
for that.
Don't do that.
No.
I wasn't drunk per se.
No.
But I probably should have let someone drive my van and drive me home.
Yep.
Either way.
That's the safest way.
And
Be
then I went
safe,
home.
everybody.
And usually, guys, and by the way, I'm going to try to get back to it this Friday.
All right.
Where me and him live stream and watch SmackDown and give our reactions, Arlen. You'll probably be wrestling, so you won't get the chance.
Friday, yeah.
Yeah. But it is something we love to do, and I want to get back to. Even
Well,
though I'll be in the cities, we'll still be able to do it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I'll miss one Friday because we're getting a cousin to get together in 2
Okay.
weeks.
Okay, yeah.
I'm with my family and we get drunk and stupid.
And see,
I gotta have fun
I was
with
so
that.
drunk that by 8 o'clock I forgot that I was supposed to hit you up.
All right.
So,
But the Lacey thing is just...
wow.
so at
yes.
first I cringed
Yeah.
because I'm like, is she just actually trying to get a large pop so she keeps coming in and out? Because this is kind of weird and this is kind of cringy. And then when she cut the promo, I'm like, oh, okay. But I still don't get it. Yeah, I actually cringed because I was like, baby girl, if they're not giving you a pop, just get in the ring, okay? Do your thing, and they probably will.
Just do something patriotic. They'll cheer. It's Texas.
The Maswa and Masse thing did not go over well in Texas.
No, it did not.
They literally chanted boring when they were almost.
I'm honestly
not
going to say
good.
this. Do that shit in Vermont, you'll be fine.
Well, if you were going to do it in Texas, you could have just got on how Texans look dirty all the time or something, and then they would have booed the whole segment, and they would have been more into it.
Well, that's the only thing that
But he didn't do that.
That's the only thing that I don't know why hasn't happened yet, is why has Max not done more with the crowd? That's the only issue I have right now, because here's the deal. A douchebag trying to get over other good-looking douchebags, that's wrestling all day, folks. I'm not mad about
just
that.
pro wrestling.
But play with the crowd a little bit. And by the way, Eli's great at that. He's a master of it.
Right.
It's literally what got him over.
Right.
But anyway, now we get to Jesse's favorite part of the show. Jesse, I will read you the 4 blocks in this year's largest G1. I've got all 4 blocks right here.
So did I, but go ahead.
Block A, and
Dun-dun-dun.
I'm sure you know a lot of guys. So yeah, okay. Block A.
Oh, that's right. I'm not the only New Japan guy here today. Yes.
Jesse's happy he's got another New Japan guy. All right, so this year, Block A will be Lance Archer, Jonah, our boy Yano, never changed.
Never changed.
Kazuchika Okada, Tom Lawler, Jeff Cobb, and Bad Luck Fale. What do you got in Block 1?
It's either going to be Kazuchika Okada,
Okay.
because I mean, by the way, he really is their new ace.
Yeah.
They just don't announce it. When shit goes awry with their booking, they go back to Okada every time.
They might retire Ace with Tanahashi,
Probably.
and then it'll just be a sort of loose locker room term.
Right.
Whereas, Taker was the locker room leader. They'll just
Right.
call it Ace in Japan.
Right. So it'll be him, or my surprise is the fact that Tom Lawler got into A Block. So that must mean they're high on him enough. He could do some surprising in this tournament. And I like Tom Lawler a lot.
I'll ask this at the end, but this is clearly right now before I read the next 3. This is clearly already the block of death.
It's going to be difficult to come out of this one. Now, Bad Luck Fale just does Bad Luck Fale shit in the G1,
Yeah.
which is maybe wins a couple matches, mostly bullshits his way through, gets disqualified a lot, but it's all in good fun. Like
The hookers and blow are still back there.
my third, and my heart tells me this is the year for Yano.
The biggest G1 ever. They give us Yano.
I love Toru Yano. Guys, just give me 1 year. Just one time where he wins the championship. You can have him lose it the next month. I don't care. But just once. Just once.
All Jesse wants is for Yano to come out and attempt to sell it to someone in the crowd.
That's
That's all he wants.
It's almost like New Japan forgot when the last time they were they did a full show in like Texas, and they had Yano got one of the loudest pops. Yano's so loved here. They're trying to get into the American market. Let Yano win.
All right. So Block B.
Actually, before we go,
Yeah.
who do you think
Give
maybe wins Block A?
You have a
this
winner?
year?
Jeff Cobb.
Really?
Yep.
Man.
You told us they teased him winning his first G1.
And
so
then, of course, he went on that 4-match losing streak. And it feels like they're just not there with him yet. But I want to pick Cobb. I love
He's
Jeff
dark
Cobb.
horse for me.
I think Jeff Cobb.
Oh yeah, the weather is coming. Trust me.
nice. Block B
Yeah, that Jeff Cobb's
is
not gonna be fun.
Hopefully it's not raining when you guys
Yeah.
we get done here. But
oh well. All right. So Block B is Tai Chi,
I love Taichi.
Tama Tonga,
Yeah.
Tomoro Ishii, The King.
Because the champion always has to be in either A or B block.
Right.
okay.
Sonata, Chase Owens, and Great O'Khan.
This is 2 Murderers Row this year because they've actually been very, very high on Chase Owens this year. It's basically like the 7 years of work he's put in is starting to
They've
pay
given
off.
Chase a lot.
They've given Chase a lot.
on a lot of New Japan programming, which I did not expect for a.
My 3 favorites in B block are, of course, the King. I worship at his feet. I think his suits are wonderful. I do believe he sold out Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, we're not going to say
I
that yet.
believe he is the true leader of Bullet Club. He's the greatest thing of all time. And I'm only saying this because he cursed me out on Twitter. I'm not saying that,
On your own account
yeah,
or
on my own
ours?
account, he kind of
Okay,
cursed me
all right,
out
all right.
because I told him I thought Tama could beat him, and that didn't go over too well. I've never seen so many F-bombs in my life. It was impressive.
Jesse,
I was like, wow.
Wow.
Jesse will be finding that. He'll be screenshotting, putting it on our Facebook. Maybe scratch out the F-bombs, but
I mean, it was. I'm from Brooklyn. It impressed me. I'm like, I didn't know you could use the F-bomb
why
that
would
much.
you piss off the? the
I
Australian.
wasn't trying to piss him off. I was just saying Tama could be right. I think
You're
he
just
could beat you.
you were just
Okay,
making a
okay.
statement.
Yeah. And
All right, so
He
you got
just
Jay White.
strongly
and
disagreed
number
with
two.
you.
And the King put the plebeian back in his place, and I respect the King for that.
Yeah,
There you
exactly.
go.
Number 2,
You should be scared he has a mansion now in the U.S.
it's gorgeous too. It's really pretty. Tama is a dark horse.
He is.
Would you have put these two in the same block?
Yes.
Really? Okay. Well, okay. All right. To be
Because the
fair,
story-wise,
the G1, once they get to the semifinals, no longer are they trying to tell stories.
Right.
They're trying to get the tournament over with.
Right.
That's usually how the G1
but the
works.
story itself, though, with him and Tonga in the same block,
Where does Chase go in this then?
I think Chase will make a strong run.
No, I'm not saying run. Where does he fall as a Bullet Club guy with Tama and Jay White?
I think he'll end up being, well, of course, Tama isn't Bullet Club anymore.
Right,
but
yeah.
He'll be number 3 probably. And like he'll end up as the third place guy in this block, I think.
Think so?
Yeah, because they're really high on Chase. And then I love Tomo, but listen,
Is it all right? All right. I was gonna say this. I'll just say it. Is this his last G1?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. He's almost 50.
Yeah.
He's gonna win it all. He's gonna win it. This is his year.
If it happens though, Jesse will cry.
2009 was Tomo's best year. He'll never get a run like that again.
Who do you have in Block B?
Nah, probably Switchblade.
Switchblade. Okay.
Yeah.
Block C. Oh jeez. This going to be. Oh god. This is the block that's gonna hurt.
Oh.
Kenta,
Ooh.
Zack Sabre Jr., Hiroki Goto, Tanahashi, Naito, Aaron Henare,
Hinare.
Aaron Henare, and Evil.
That's right. They did add his first name now. I forgot they added his first name now since he's in
Empire?
Empire with Will Ospreay. First of all, C Block is going to be hard to watch.
It's gonna hurt.
They're going to fuck each other up.
Yes. Yes.
I've never felt bad for Tanahashi before this year. I feel bad for Tanahashi. He's going to look his age by the end of this tournament in that block.
Oh my god.
Zack Sabre Jr. alone is going to make that man feel like he's 70.
And Naito's on a tear like right now personally. Like I mean Naito's pissed.
Naito is an interesting story in this tournament because he wasn't even asked to be a part of Forbidden Door.
He was not happy.
I did not know that until he posted that on Twitter. I thought he was just hurt enough where they were like, we're not going to send you to America. We've got this mapped out. Don't worry. No. AEW didn't even ask him. So, yeah. You might have prolonged his career by 3 years because now you're pissed off Naito. That's a mistake.
In 2 weeks when I get back, Jesse, we're gonna have you analyze what the hell were they doing not asking Naito, but we'll analyze that in 2 weeks.
I will say this, though. Funny enough, Naito could be the favorite coming out of this block.
Really?
Yeah, I see Naito.
You guys got Naito?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Naito or Kenta.
Okay.
Man, since he's been back, like it was like he was like, oh, I'm not constrained by WWE anymore. I'm gonna kill every person I get in the ring with. I'm just gonna murder you.
That's basically what he's been doing. All right, move on to the
We
final.
still haven't even got Minoru Suzuki versus Kenta yet, from what I can remember.
Oh, that'd be good.
I want to see them beat the shit out of each other.
This is gonna be all right. Okay, this is gonna be a fun block. I don't necessarily know if there's a favorite in this, but it's gonna be a fun block. You got El Phantasmo, you got David Finlay, Yoshihashi, Ospreay, Takagi, Juice Robinson, and Takashi.
Will Ospreay. You answered your own question as soon as you said
Will
his
Ospreay.
name. Former IWGP heavyweight. By the way, kind of an insult to put him in D block.
He's got Juice. Juice is there.
Juice just lost the title because they took it from him.
Yeah.
Someone.
Juice gonna get his ass beat. he already disrespected the King, even though he just got in the Bullet Club.
Yoshihashi's gonna take it all.
I love Yoshihashi, but he's gonna die too. I think Will Ospreay's killing everyone. in this
Well, Will
block.
Ospreay had some words for Kenny there, and I don't know how real that was or how unreal, but he basically said
That was definitely a half shoot. So that rumor's been going around for a while.
he basically said you a C word boy, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna make you look brittle.
Yeah,
Is what he said.
That's-
word.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
I know I saw that. I was like, damn.
And big ups to Will. I mean, he's worked with Orange Cassidy before, but I thought that ended up, and I was right, that ended up being the match of the night.
Oh,
to
it
me
was.
for
Yeah, no,
Forbidden Door.
100%. 100% of the match.
So, yeah, Will Ospreay definitely wins D Block, but Juice is gonna die. I hope him and
quick question, Jesse.
Him and what's her face got the wedding date because
Tony Storm.
Because
By
I
the
don't
way,
know how he's
by the
gonna
way,
consummate
what-
the marriage.
What
'cause
an
he's gonna be too
inventive,
dead to
what
do
an
it.
inventive name for your women's champion tag team, Thunderstorm. Really?
I love it.
Uh,
I love it.
It's so disrespectful of Thunder Rosa that she has to deal with this shit.
No, it's not. To the year she's had.
That's fair.
Shit, if I was a booker, she'd be lucky that she still has the championship.
Oh, I love Thunder Rosa.
I love Thunder Rosa,
Keep the title on her. For
but
2
I
years.
just like there's just to me there's certain old school things that are still keepable, and one of those is not like trying to embarrass your opponent in the ring by not selling and all that and shit like that she's been doing a little bit of. Now she's been better,
Yeah.
but like. I'd be like, you should feel blessed. I've let you keep the title.
I have to ask this of Jesse. Jesse, when the time finally comes to meet their maker, when the gong sounds, when the sands of time run out, who looks worse, Juice Robinson or Sami Zayn?
oh. That's a good one.
Guys, you don't understand what's coming with Sami Zayn. Like, I fear. Like, whenever Roman loses the title, which it could be at SummerSlam after Theory cashes in, Sammy gonna die. Because if not for Sammy, Roman wouldn't be in this predicament. So, and Juice ain't gonna die, but Juice gonna take an ass whooping.
Sammy's going to wish that he was in the shark-infested waters outside the island of relevancy because the island's more dangerous.
Sammy's gonna wish he was in a hurricane tearing him apart.
Yeah.
Because being smashed by the tribal chief is going to feel like hell.
Hello, sit up.
Because he's not going
Yeah.
to have any titles, which means he's not going to have any rules anymore.
right?
Yeah.
Which means poor Sami Zayn.
Yep.
If you thought him getting pile driven off of a 10-foot ladder was bad in Ring of Honor, the murder that's going to happen in WWE is going to be spectacularly beautiful. Yeah, Roman's gonna kill him. Yeah, he's gonna die.
We're also
Notice how he's not been around when Roman came back. He's like, yeah, I can't apologize yet.
I'm just waiting for the dream match we all want: Sami Zayn versus El Rod. Anyway,
real quick before we go, let's do
we're not done yet.
Great American Bash.
Well, yeah, that's
No,
what we got
hold
to
on.
do.
Even before Great American Bash. Overall, SmackDown still over 2 million. Wasn't a bad show.
Yeah.
No,
Had
not
some-
bad at all.
We've basically alluded to it a bunch of times throughout the show. Again, the male models thing, in my opinion, the only thing I want is mess with the crowd a little more. You're a heel. You have the freedom to do so.
And probably add one more member to it.
Yeah.
Probably one more.
Yeah.
I have to send a full body shot to him, I guess.
Hopefully, this just get right. I mean,
That would
I
be
want to point something
scary.
out. I'm pretty sure that my fiance was the first person in America to actually find out if that was a real website, because the second Pat said it, she Googled that shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got to give WWE credit for actually buying the domain.
Yep.
And then be like, yeah, no, this is a real thing. Like, credit on you for that.
Yeah.
I'll have to go check to see if I can submit photos.
Well, no, time out. Time out. Do it, because guess what? You know what they're going to do. This is the most WWE thing ever.
They're going to put me on TV?
Yes!
Oh, my God,
Sweet.
that would be great.
He's going to rip those photos every week before they walk the red carpet. You know it's going to happen.
What should I wear?
Well,
Please something.
You should wear one of our 13-card subject to change shirts, which you can get from us. All you got to do is message myself or Leroy, and we will make sure we get your size and get it shipped to you.
And I will
There we
also
go.
be available. I can get
Yes.
them to you. Those two handle that, that side of the business right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
'Cause I'm handling legal stuff. But anyway,
That's important, too.
But anyway, no. I think SmackDown was good. Once again, if Roman's there, they're gonna hit 2 million. I don't know
yeah.
what it is
Once
about
again,
it. Yeah.
Paul Heyman proving
Oh God, Paul Heyman's promo. Like, oh my God.
just one of the best promo guys of our generations.
And credit to Roman, cause like he that might have been, and I'm serious, his best work on the mic in a long time because he got the crowd. He was excited. He involved the Usos. He was all good. Hullabaloo. Everything's great. And then he got Paul. Paul was shaking like a leaf in the middle of a storm. He gave him the mic. He assured him that no harm would come to him. It was just so good. And then the facial expressions going from you're hyping Brock to you're actually hyping me. Like Roman's okay, seriously, go back and just watch Roman's face and listen to Paul.
Right.
You get told everything in that.
Yeah. It's great shit, man.
This is you didn't bring this guy up like this the first time? He could have been doing this for 10 years.
Well,
Yeah,
Roman
yeah.
was actually already a really good heel promo in NXT, so that was another reason Roman took heat when he was this overpushed babyface, was because people had seen him do promo work as a heel in NXT.
Yeah.
And he was actually pretty damn good at it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Who have you looked at for like promos recently? Have you everyone always has like the same list, but like I mean, who's a dark horse for you?
I do it differently. I watch movies.
Okay,
Sure.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like you can listen to people talk.
Right.
And as long as you can. You can take things from anywhere.
Well,
is
yeah, okay.
What I'm trying to say. I
Oh,
guess.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Which I don't think we hear a lot from a lot of wrestlers because everybody, I mean, they'll quote Dusty's legendary thing. They'll talk about Rick.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like
Darren seems to just mention Darren.
Well, yeah, that's
he's
what he-
naturally a jackass.
I think he basically said, "Oh no, I just talk off the cuff."
Yeah.
So basically, I just talk shit.
I find it really cool that you say that because I feel like a lot of wrestlers don't want to admit that it can come from anywhere outside of wrestling.
Right.
Yeah.
But which is a weird stigma to have, but it exists
Well, I
in,
mean,
in
think
wrestling.
about the '80s and the '90s. A lot of them were using characters from movies and stuff, so that's how
Yeah.
they were kind of doing their own talking style as well,
Mm-hmm.
which is why the whole Wailing Mercy character was so ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Because he was using a movie like not a lot of people have seen, but a great movie with Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
And then of course when Bray Wyatt started to do it, it was like, I remember someone doing the same thing in the fucking '90s. Well, it was basically the same character, but now he's got more supernatural elements. But,
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
But anyway, sorry to cut you off, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like, but the stuff that, as far as promos, I'll watch like Roddy Piper,
Oh,
Randy
yeah.
Savage, like Mr. Perfect, obviously.
Yeah.
Like,
people
I think
don't
he's
realize
the
how
best.
good Mr. Perfect was as
I
a
know.
promo.
The name was not a
It wasn't-
tagline.
Yeah, it wasn't.
There wasn't anything in wrestling he wasn't capable of
Right.
doing.
Yeah.
That's the end all be all.
And he was just an incredible athlete, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
for
all
his
around.
time.
All around.
I'll say
he
he's
was
the
a great
best
athlete.
ever.
Yeah, he's up there.
It's hard to argue when you realize what he could have done.
right.
But yeah, okay, so like I mean for you, is there a genre of movies or is it kind of just you like watch anything and then you pick something that like okay, okay, that could work. Is
Yeah,
it-
I'll watch like anything. And,
Okay, yeah.
'cause I kind of grew up watching a lot of movies, you know. And
Yeah. That's a good parenting style.
yeah, right.
Yeah, that's a great parenting style.
Oh yeah,
It shuts them up.
Yeah, it is.
that's true.
That's
it does.
very true.
YouTube or video games right now shuts them right up.
Yeah, there you go.
Grew up
Or-
with a TV in my room, so
or-
you know.
There you go.
it's-
Or duct tape and food.
Well, you know.
Not at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah.
I have no idea what you were getting at with that for a second.
But okay,
there.
so
Well,
like,
shove food in their mouth
so like,
and they wouldn't talk,
when it
or
comes
duct
to
tape
the
and they wouldn't
promo
talk.
stylings, how does one really figure out what promo style works for them? Because I mean, Ric Flair's promo style worked for the person he was trying to portray. Randy Savage, nothing made sense half the time, but hey, you know what? It worked for Randy.
But cocaine, it's a hell of a drug.
we have Steiner math now.
We have Steiner math.
Steiner
But
math
just-
is a fucking thing.
But just
I love
like,
Steiner math.
what types of things? Take us a little behind the curtain here. What types of things do they tell you when they say, "Okay, it's time to develop your talking"? Because I mean, they always tell you make it come from you, make it natural. But there has to be a showmanship level of it because you're trying to sell tickets here.
Yeah.
That's the be all end all.
So really, all they tell you is to fully commit.
Okay.
Right.
That's all Nick has really ever hammered in was fully commit, and lose my train of thought.
It's all good.
I'm not committed enough.
Why am I here for Jesse? Because we don't need New Japan for 3 hours.
All right.
Yeah, I can do that right on my own.
Yep. So basically, to your point, Nick says fully commit, and that's kind of the biggest message that he
Yep,
gives. Okay,
yep.
so then basically, is it okay? So when he says fully commit, is it take what the promoter wants and 100% make it your own, or do you or is it bend to them a little more versus you? Because I feel like a lot of wrestlers, especially when they're trying to get into it, they think to themselves, I'm better than what I'm given, but the promoter's ultimately the one putting you out there.
Yeah. So how I view it is like the promoter is going to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
It's up to you how to do it.
Okay.
It goes back to the different flavors of ice cream deal.
Yeah.
Like they just say, go give me like 3 scoops of ice cream.
Mhm.
It's up to you to say pistachio, chocolate.
Right, okay.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah. And okay, so try to give me an actual percentage. What percentage of the crowd dictates how you're going to deliver what they give you? Based on where you are on the card, obviously, because you get a better feel later on in the show. But I mean, are you really bending to the crowd as much as people think? Or
Cutting a promo?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So
Yeah, you gotta work around the crowd very much because they can and will talk over you.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
There is more of them. The microphone
there
doesn't
is
help.
more of them.
The microphone doesn't help.
Doesn't
And
always
if
say.
you flub up your words like I often do,
Mm-hmm.
then they are relentless.
Relentless. Yeah. Mhm.
Obviously, yeah,
Steve Austin kind of ruined that for the rest of the wrestling world.
yeah.
Motherfucker. We all thought it was funny to go, what? And now it was done so much that you're like, okay, guys, it's just stop.
Jesse, you are in the music world, as we
Yeah.
know. I have to ask, and this might be difficult for you. What is worse? What or play Freebird?
Oh, no, listen. You can win over a what chant.
Yeah, if you do it right.
Like if you just find a way. Like Roman does it really well.
Yeah. Max actually did a pretty good job on SmackDown.
Undertaker did it great years ago. If you sleep with your mother, say what? Got people to immediately stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. A drunk guy asking you to play Freebird or any Leonard Skinner song, you almost go, fuck no. So go no.
To be fair, I did that one time to Theory of a Dead Man, and Tyler played the opening riff. So God bless him for that.
I mean, or you can do that. You can troll and act like you're gonna play it, and then you don't.
Yeah.
But it's
Trust me, it'll keep that dumb white redneck drunk dipshit happy for a second.
It will.
Yeah.
Or you play Sweet Home Alabama instead, and then you smile at them while you're doing it.
Yeah.
And then they get the point that you don't want to hear that anymore. But
Yeah. All right.
I would rather, to be honest, I would actually rather hear what.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
all right.
Well, and again, thank you for that. That's great insight. All right.
Of course.
Great American Bash
Yes.
was good. I will admit off the top, once again.
More like Great American Ass. I mean, my God.
We'll get to this.
That ass
Heel.
is made in America. Oh, my bad. Sorry. Go ahead. We're 3 hours in. We got to get done.
Heel.
Let's go.
Yeah, we can go off on that next week.
next week.
We'll go off on it.
I'm not
Sorry.
here. I don't know what's gonna happen
We have
next
to
week.
keep
I'm
this
not
a
here.
PG show. My bad.
Okay. I will say this,
PG-13.
for the second straight pay-per-view,
Maybe.
I watched the Creed brothers match on mute because for some reason I'm looking at them like I want to see genuinely if I think it's real with the Creed brothers.
Yeah.
Right.
The crowd loves them. They do.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's just that NXT trained crowd or what it is. They love that tag team. They really, really do, which is weird because they're really the first breed of what NXT has had for a tag team. Like,
Yes.
like you haven't seen big brawler guys like that in NXT yet. So it's
No.
unique that they're really, hopping for these guys.
All right. Well, that wasn't the first match,
No.
anyways. But the first one to hit it off for that was the women's tag team, and we have new tag team champions.
We call this 50-50.
Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez.
It was a
Beat
good match.
Toxic.
It was a good match.
Roxanne Perez could be a double champion by the end of next week.
Did I not say the most shocking thing that's happened in NXT 2.0, period, since their inception, is how they took this gal. She was undersized for even their women's roster.
Yes, she is.
And they have been so impressed by her that she came from being the formerly last Ring of Honor Women's
Right.
Champion, and they've given her the world.
Yeah.
Literally, NXT 2.0 has been her oyster.
Right.
She won the breakout tournament. They just gave her the tag team title. Even if she loses to Mandy Rose, you still got the tag team titles.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like she's been given something.
Right.
Got to give him credit on that.
There
but
we go.
no, great match. Everyone did a great job. This was the first time I decided to focus on JC.
Okay, yeah.
She's better than I think people think.
She's
the third.
I'm about to say she's really the third wheel of the group.
If she's the
unfortunately,
third
but
wheel, that's a hell of a third wheel to
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
in that group.
the group is
like,
very strong. Even though I don't personally like Mandy Rose,
No, you
but
don't.
in the ring, it was what. Because
Oh,
even though
no.
she's gotten better, it still falls flat to me a lot.
Right,
of
yeah,
times. But otherwise, yeah. I
ripping on
thought
my
this
girl.
tag
What the
team
fuck?
match was excellent. The fact that Priscilla Kelly seems to have new life in WWE of all companies is amazing. So,
you would think after the indie career that she had, WWE would be like.
do you know how many times I
Get
watched
outta
this
here,
girl
right?
reach
Yeah.
into her own vagina and put her hand in someone's face? Now, usually it was a wrestler who didn't want it and not the weird dude's going, hey! But,
Yeah.
but you know,
Like
It
we
was
said,
Jesse
as
wearing a
long
mask
as you
at the
stay
front
on the other
row,
side of
so-
the guardrail,
Right.
be as weird as you want. It's fine.
It was Jesse in the front row with a mask on. That's what he's doing that.
Sure.
I do it without a mask. That woman is
Oh,
perfect.
oh,
But
okay.
it's just one of those things where like the career she had on the indies and now like this almost more serious turn, pretty cool stuff to see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
it is.
Yeah. No. Really, really technically sound too. Which again.
Oh, in the ring she's phenomenal.
Oh yeah. Never.
Great, yeah.
Never. question.
Love the match. Great match. 10-minute.
This match
10-minute
showcased
match
four
there, so.
women that I'm sorry, these four women in early WWE days, they wouldn't even have made television. Like
And by the way, just remember AEW.
You
Tony
had-
Khan let Cora Jade slip right through the cracks.
well, technically Roxanne as well. That was your fucking champion.
Yeah, I know.
You let her go for nothing.
Yeah.
That's the part that bothers me. Look, Mercedes Martinez, she got what she deserved. I love Mercedes Martinez.
agree.
That is my gal.
I agree.
Straight up love that girl. But you had this girl for a song.
Yeah.
I don't like quoting Skip Bayless because the man's an insane asylum patient now. But for a song, you could have had Roxy.
There you
That's
go.
all I'm saying.
Right.
And she is now one of the top stars in the company, arguably.
Right.
I think arguably she'd get a reaction if she just went to Raw or SmackDown. She might.
She might, but they're going to continue to refine. She's only 21 years old.
Exactly.
They're going to.
She could be there for another 2-3 years and be perfectly fine.
She's
There we
gonna,
go.
And they're probably planning. They want her to be there the next 20.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
There we
yeah.
go.
No, they want her for a while.
yeah.
All right. Next.
All
thing-
I need WWE to do is look at the videos I've sent to you of someone named Sierra. Please. Go ahead, Leroy.
I totally agree with you. The dumbasses, they got to pull their head out of their asses.
Because she could do wonders for you.
We got to
Because
get a
Tony's
hold
dropped
of.
the ball twice already.
Don't get me started on that.
I'm going to send a message to HBK and Triple. We'll see.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Next
We're
one.
also going to send you his tape.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Like I said,
Appreciate it.
like I said, if you want anyone to work your promotion day and night 24/7,
It's us.
It's us. We got nothing better to do with our lives.
We-
All
will-
I do if I'm not working is watch pro wrestling and send promotion shit. So like,
Yep.
We will promote
got you,
the
brother.
hell out of you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Leroy.
Just don't forget us.
Yep. Next match.
Okay, we had Trick Williams defeating Wesley by doing heel shit.
Okay, knowing you as long as I have, you predicted this incorrectly.
I
but
did.
but you loved how it ended.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
knowing
that was
you,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
knowing you
The
the, way
little-
that I do.
The little spray. Oh, it was out. It was really water.
The double
of course,
water
but
bottle thing.
That
you
was
didn't-
good.
You didn't think about it?
No.
And then when he used the
Yeah.
first one, I swear to God, if Carmelo had messed up the water bottles, that would have been a long night for Trick
It
Williams.
would
Oh,
have
yeah.
been a bad.
That would have
night
been
for-
a
really
long
bad night for Trick Williams.
But the fact that all of a sudden you saw him wetting the hands and your brain goes, what?
yeah,
And then the moment happens, and then
Yeah.
you're like, well, shit, you fucking got me.
Yeah. Good.
Shit, you got me.
Good.
But yes,
that
that would have been the
so.
greatest
Yeah.
comedic moment in the history of NXT if they had
that
just.
was my shock.
if they had
that was the
mixed
shock
up the
to me
water
was how
bottles.
short it was.
Yeah, it was a very short match, like
Yeah.
3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, man.
Yep.
That's pretty good. Next up, we have another singles match with your favorite girl there, Wendy Chu, but unfortunately, Tiffany Stratton got the win over Mrs.
I didn't
Wendy
like
Chu.
they started this during the commercial. That was really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, I think, like Jesse said, with where you want to get, because they want to push Tiffany. I mean,
Yes,
Oh,
they
yes.
do.
Yeah.
it's clear. And by the
She's
way,
good.
Wendy's a good Miz in my opinion, where she can be a gatekeeper.
Sure.
Because Wendy's that good.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
Wendy wins it all, no one questions
Right,
it. If
right.
Wendy loses, no one questions it.
Right.
Like that's how good Wendy Chu is.
Right.
Again, if you're gonna push Tiffany, this was a nice way to basically, you told the whole Tiffany Stratton story in one match.
Yeah.
There we go.
One
Yeah.
segment. She's a bitch. She's a rich daddy's girl. That was before the match.
Right.
Then you realize, maybe she's really not all that with the brawl in the back. And then she wins, and you're like, okay.
Well, she kind of did need this one because Wendy Chu had beaten her the other 2 times.
Right, yeah.
Pretty cleanly in the story. So
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. Next up was the North American Championship with Carmelo Hayes retaining against Grayson Waller.
He did not beat him
Hell
the
of a
way you
match.
thought. In the sense that you called this as almost squash material, in the sense that Carmelo was going to rip Grayson's head off.
I really.
It was a lot more competitive. Arlen,
Yeah.
your thoughts on
They
this
were
one?
super back and forth the whole match.
Yeah.
And it was really competitive and entertaining and athletic.
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome.
Grayson
Yes.
is that guy who looks like what Jesse once thought a guy in Southern California was supposed to be.
Brandon Cutler, yes.
Yeah, he's long, he's langy, but here's the thing: you don't realize how athletic he is until he tries to pull off his moveset. Then you're like, okay, this should be for a smaller guy.
Though the basketball move for the elbow thing is still weird.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
It's just
well,
weird.
but just like our boy the System with the whole beard thing. Sometimes you just gotta get heat.
Or first of all,
Sometimes
play
you
the
just got-
damn violin. Sorry, we're getting off on a tangent. Sorry.
He did once, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
He can play.
But no, Grayson. Grayson is way more athletic than I
He
think
totally
people
stole
think.
that violin. He cannot convince me he did not steal that violin from a little girl. He cannot convince me he did not steal that violin from a little girl.
Yeah.
well,
You've-
he is the system.
You've yelled at him 3 times. How many more times are you gonna try this?
Till it works.
He told me in person he did not steal it, that he bought it and he took the lessons. And I'm like, yeah, damn it, you haven't played it. And as a musician, it gets under my skin just a little bit.
Fair enough.
Just a little bit. Like if he faces you in a match, which I would assume would happen at some point very soon, he's going to hit you with it. But
Then
instead of hitting you with it, he should just play it.
Should I
because it's a
bless it now
beautiful
or
instrument,
something?
and it'll put you to sleep.
Yeah, it'll put me to sleep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
easy win. No, I'm gonna hit somebody with this
Yeah.
thing.
All right. Yes.
But
The
no.
mustache is actually an improvement on his face.
There you go.
He's gonna whoop my ass the next time I see him.
But
Either
but-
him or Paul. One of the two.
yeah,
But now to talk about the
I
other
don't
guy.
talk about that guy.
I have said this and I'll say it again. If presented correctly,
Yeah.
and just given everything,
Yeah,
Carmelo Hayes could be the biggest star at all of
He
wrestling.
really
He,
could.
he's
that
gonna be
guy-
a big money guy.
yes, he can.
Yes.
He came from the Indies. You thought he was just some other dude that WWE would cut in a second when he faced Adam Cole, and hard to believe he's on a better trajectory than